could make it. I could make it. Oh, it's here. Good evening. This is the meeting of the Public Utilities Committee. Clerk, can you take roll, please?
Mr. Dickel?
Present.
Mr. Stevenson? Here. Mr. R. Smith? Here.
Okay, a summary of proceedings. The last meeting, two of us weren't on this committee, so we're going to have to defer to you, Mr. Smith, as whether the meeting minutes were accurate or not.
Oh, I looked it over and I didn't see anything that needed to be changed. As far as my recollection goes, everything is accurate. So I would make a motion that we accept this.
Second. Clerk?
Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Okay, all we have is some new business, and we received notice from Ohio Edison that they have a 3-year planned rate increase. I don't think this is for the city particularly, I think it's statewide, so I'm going to ask the law director to address that. Let us know what's going on with that.
So, Mr. Chairman, yes, the clerk of council received a notification, and the administration received the same notification that First Energy Corporation has filed for a rate increase. This is a rate increase associated with the transmission lines. So many people may already be familiar. Ohio Edison / First Energy is always responsible delivering electricity to our homes, the wires and the components that bring the electricity to our homes. Many people may recall after we had a blackout, when was it, about 2010, and the federal government told the utility providers nationwide they needed to draft emergency plans so that the blackout didn't reoccur. This is actually somewhat tied to that, because First Energy had applied sometime between 2010 and this year, submitted an emergency plan, and it wasn't adopted. So this is kind of a redirect, a way for them to try to set in place the funding they would need to put the infrastructure in place so that we don't have the reoccurrences that we had a decade plus ago. All that being said, this would be about the third ordinance that the council has passed within the last 2 years opposing a utility rate increase in Ohio to customers. And as you pointed out correctly, Mr. Chairman, this applies to all those customers in the First Energy service areas. Of course, we're in that territory. I'd be happy to answer additional questions you may have, but I urge the council to send on a resolution in opposition, as we have done before. Last time it was at the request of the Ohio Consumer Council. The Ohio Consumers Council is the Ohio entity that works on behalf of customers of the utilities and advocates on our behalf as customers of the utilities. And they had requested that we do this in the previous 2 rate increase requests. And I would hopefully the committee sees the benefit of sending this on the council and adopting our opposition to this rate increase request.
Okay, I don't see an actual ordinance.
It's not drafted yet, but I'd seen one. I thought the clerk had drafted it. The format's already in the can.
Okay.
We just simply remove and update it with the current request. So we have what we can. We can bring it back to the next committee, or if you would authorize it, we'll prepare it, have it ready by the Thursday deadline so it can be on the next council agenda.
What saith committee members?
I have a question before I say anything. On the part here on the first page where it says stable bills, the second sentence says the average monthly impact is estimated at approximately $4.26 per year. So would that be 35.5 cents a month then increase?
I've read that. Let me see if I can find it on one of the PDFs. It's not opening. Do you have it in front of you?
Yes.
Can I look at it? Thank you. Yeah, when I read it, I read it as per month. I see this as per year, but when I read it the first time, it said per month.
It's kind of confusing.
Well, when I read it, I assumed it was per month, not per year. Per year would be relatively insignificant,
Right.
but the way I read it the first time, we all should read it, I read it as per month.
Can we get a clarification?
Yeah, but I think we should just go with assuming it's $4.62 per month, until we read differently, because that's how I read it the first time.
So if we draft a resolution, that's not going to tie us into 462?
No, not at all.
Or 426, right?
No, but if after we all review it and it actually says $4.26 increase a year, and we may not want to waste our time with it if it's just going to amount to about $13 over 3 years.
Right.
But I don't think it reads $4.26 per year.
Probably not.
I think it's about $50 a year, or well over $150 for 3 years. If you're an average
Yeah.
customer.
That was my only point of question, so.
Yeah. I'll make a motion that we draft a resolution.
Opposing?
Yes, opposing the rate increase, of course. And let's do it so that we can get it on the council agenda. Next
Move it on to
Monday,
council.
get this thing through and get our opposition registered.
Is that a recommendation to approve that?
Yes, that's a motion.
I'll second. Clerk?
Is there any more discussion?
Oh, I'm sorry. Any more discussion? Anything from the public?
It would be Craig 365 Silver Street. Last Monday, Mr. Dickel, you would not forward on the flock camera conversation, or you wouldn't take a vote or whatever because you wanted to see legislation. But tonight, you're willing to pass something on to full council, and it doesn't even exist.
Fair enough. We can take roll?
Yes. Mr. Dickel?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Okay. Any matters not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none?
Now we do musical chairs.
It's filling up. We're gonna be here till midnight.
Get paid for the hour.
I don't get paid.
I do apologize, there was like 15, 16 pages supporting.
What is that? Is that her name?
Yes,
Okay.
and it is spelled correctly.
All right, then I didn't see anything.
Slowly learning little tricks to get the computer to do what I needed to do without having to reinvent the wheel.
Guys ready? 6:38 PM on July 20th, and we'll call the Legislation, Codes, and Regulations Committee to order. Clerk, would you take roll, please?
Mr. R. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Kreider? Here. Mr. Clark?
Here.
We have a summary of proceedings in front of us. Has everybody had a chance to look at it?
Yeah, I didn't see any corrections, so I'd like to make a motion that we accept.
I will second that.
Clerk, would you call the vote, please?
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Kreider?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Okay, on the agenda for tonight, we have an old business and a couple of new business things. Before I go into the old business, I'd like to read something. You've all seen the guidelines for public comment that we have out here every night, and these are basically guidelines. They're not binding to anybody. They're not a part of council rules. They're not a part of any ordinance or resolution. They are just guidelines. And so, based on that, I have made up my own rules that I'm going to conduct my meetings by. As chairman of this committee, I will expect me and the administration, members of the committee, and all the audience to abide by these rules during my meetings. And I'm going to read this to you. Government bodies must generally allow the public to attend and observe public meetings, but there is no automatic federal or state guarantee for citizens to speak. However, if a body opens the floor to speech, it becomes an open public forum and must follow strict, fair rules to manage speakers. The public is legally guaranteed the right to attend, listen to, and record public meetings such as city councils or school boards. There is no universal right to be heard at every public meeting. Ohio law does not currently require public comment for general meetings. Public comment at council meetings is not required, but it can be granted. This is up to the discretion of the presiding officer. If and when the chair decides to grant public comment, these are the rules you will be asked to abide by. Recognition by the chair. No person shall address the committee without first being recognized by the committee chair. Individuals shall remain seated until recognized. Order and decorum. Audience members who have not been recognized shall refrain from speaking, applauding, shouting, making audible comments, displaying signs in a disruptive manner, or engaging in any conduct that interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Speaker identification. Before making comments, each speaker shall state their full name, residential address, organization that they're representing, if any, and the subject of their comments. Non-resident speakers. Individuals who are not residents of the city shall identify any substantial interest they have in the matter before the committee, such as property ownership, business ownership, employment within the city, or any other direct interest. Non-residents may be recognized at the discretion of the chair. Address the committee. All remarks must be directed to the committee chair and shall not be directed toward individual committee members, members of the administration, staff, or the audience. Subject matter. Comments must pertain to the subject of the ordinance, resolution, or matter currently being discussed, or to a matter not on the agenda which pertains to the committee being addressed. Respectful conduct. Speakers shall conduct themselves in a respectful and courteous manner. Activities such as personal attacks, profanity or abusive language, threatening or intimidating remarks, repetitious comments, or disruptive behavior that interferes with the meeting will not be tolerated. Time limitation. Each speaker shall be limited to 5 minutes unless the chair increases or decreases this limit. Every effort will be made to accommodate everyone who desires to speak. Enforcement. The committee chair is responsible for maintaining order during the meeting. If a speaker violates these rules, the chair may issue a verbal warning, direct the speaker to conclude their remarks, direct the speaker to return to their seat, or revoke the speaker's privilege to address the committee for the remainder of the meeting. If an individual refuses to comply or continues to disrupt the meeting, the chair may direct the individual to leave the council chamber. If the individual refuses, the sergeant-at-arms or other authorized law enforcement officer may be requested to remove the individual so the meeting may proceed in an orderly manner. Equal application, and this is my last point. These rules shall be applied uniformly and without regard to a speaker's viewpoint or opinion. The chair's authority to maintain order shall be exercised in a content-neutral manner consistent with applicable law. Just to make that clear, I don't care what you say, as long as you're respectful, you're not demeaning to anybody. You can have an opposing viewpoint. I'm not going to stop you based on that. But if you create disruption, I will stop you. Having said all that, I am not going to permit public comments on this ordinance tonight, the decorum ordinance. The ordinance has already been heard 4 times, and most likely any further comments would be a repetition of comments that have already been made. What I am going to do is make a motion that this ordinance be passed on to city council with a recommendation to vote no. Do I have a second?
Me.
Clerk, we have a motion and a second.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Kreider?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
No.
Okay, moving on to new business. Tonight will be the first reading of this ordinance. Clerk, would you read the ordinance, please?
Ordinance amending Part 1 Administrative Code, Title 1 General Provisions, more specifically, Chapter 137, Division of Police of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Marion, Ohio, to include a new provision to prohibit the use of flock system or similar system within the City of Marion, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Rollins, would you take your seat, please? You haven't been recognized by the chair. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so this ordinance is wanting to do away with the flock program. It appears that it wants to do away with it completely. What's the comments of the committee?
Well, when the flock cameras were installed, this council was not sitting, it was the previous council, and they enacted an ordinance limiting the use of the flock cameras by the police department, and I do believe that the police department requires a active case number before they can access the system, and I have no reason to believe that the chief is not keeping that in line. Also, I know in speaking with the chief that several times he's been contacted by the FBI to utilize our flock system, and he has denied them that access because they don't have an active case number. So they're phishing. And Chief McDonald is not allowing that to happen. The flock cameras have been used to solve multiple cases here in Marion, and what we have is the bottom of the barrel as far as these cameras go. These cameras do nothing but take pictures of the rear end of the vehicle. They do not toggle, they do not record sound. Flock Corporation has cameras that do. That is not what we have. And I have no issues with the flock cameras. I think they're a necessary part of law enforcement. We cannot run from technology out of fear that somebody might misuse it. You can say that about your TV, your phone, your car, anything that operates on a computer. There can be problems and things can be misused. So I just want to go on record that I'm 100% in favor of keeping the flock cameras.
Mr. Craig?
Thank you. I think my view is, I think it was the fact that we had the county coming in and not having oversight from council. True that we had some oversight previous council for the conditions by which the police can access or utilize the flock cameras. Again, I really want to go, we're looking at a situation where public safety is paramount. And I don't know if there's any tightening or any parameters that we could, utilize in what we already have going on now as far as dispensing of information and then disposing of it. That's what I'm concerned with, but heaven's sakes, we all know how our Ring cameras and so forth, we've had this discussion before. Anybody can post anything, and it's out in cyberspace forever. So I think we've got to be able to take some extra care and that. But my whole thing was, everything was just put in place without going to council first, and that's what I really had a major issue with. So that's all I have to say.
I agree. I've done quite a bit of study on flock in the last week or so, received many, many phone calls for and against. I have researched, and without a doubt, there have been many instances of abuse of flock cameras. There's been hackings. There's been misuse by certain law enforcement agencies within the country, tracking their girlfriends, their wives, or whatever. But in every instance, that is old news, and there have been actions taken to correct that situation. Just the same as if any company in this country gets hacked, they go back and they look and see where their vulnerability was, and then they try to correct it. There is no organization in this country that I know of that is immune to hacking. Even our Department of Defense gets hacked, and they've got the best programs in the world. My concern with Flock is not the fact that it's taking a picture of my license plate as I'm driving down the street, and that's all these do. The city of Marion has fixed point cameras that are focused on driver's license or driver's registration plates going away, not coming toward, so they can't see in your windshield, they can see the back license plate. They have a range where they're normally mounted of 15 feet wide. That's how wide it is when it hits the street. That's the widest it can be. So, you know, it's not like they're panning the horizon and looking for people. It's designated ALPR, you know, automatic license plate reader. My concern is that these have been used in the city of Marion to solve several crimes, some serious. And we want to give that up just so that we don't have the chance of being photographed on the street or the chance of being entered into a database where somebody might hack into it and get our information. But I tell you now, everybody in here is in a database, at least one, some probably 10 or 20 or 30 even. Everybody's in a database. If you've ever used a credit card, if you've ever gone to the stores and, you know, even writing a check or opening a bank account, you're in a database. So you're not going to get away from that unless we go back to the 17th century where there were no data entry things. My concern is that we make sure that the information that is gathered on us is controlled, is secure. And that's what I'm mostly interested in. That's what I'd like to see come out of this legislation, is the fact that we don't just blanket go ahead and get rid of all flock cameras and, as the ordinance says, anything like it in the future. You know, that means that we can never have anything else that would be like a flock camera. But I want to see some terminology that says the security of these flock cameras will be maintained. And I have every faith and confidence in our police department and our city administration that they will do the best they possibly can to secure that information. Anybody from administration, anybody from here have any more?
I was going to say, are you suggesting like there'll be like maybe a besides what we get from the police reports, maybe every year they have a review on this to see, you know, just to have some sort of a checks on that to see?
Yeah, we do get an IT report now.
Yeah, I was going to say, because we didn't have IT, you know,
Yeah.
our new IT before. And then I want to also say if there's some validity or some issues, we've got another area which can act as a certain type of check would be the court system. If there's, you know, if there's questions about the validity of any misuse of information obtained. So,
Right.
okay. So are you suggesting then that we maybe reject this and then recraft something else?
Well, as it stands right now, it forbids us to have it.
Yeah.
So I think we're either going to have to amend the heck out of it or reject it and create something different.
As a note, I just want to tell the public here, if you go to the Marion City website and you go to the police department reports, you will find a monthly report of the usage of flock cameras. It's all on there. It's out there for everybody to see. It's right on the city website under the Marion Police Department. So there is someplace where the citizens can go and see what's going on with them.
Just one last thing. I think it really boils down to a matter of trust. A matter of trust to again, that the information obtained and utilized is not abused. I mean, this could be a function of the court, for example, if they're looking for warrants and so forth of that nature. So I again, if there's any problems that can be corrected perhaps along the way that you don't see or whatever, I'd hope, again, we have some oversight authority to be able to address that. So.
And that's my thought too. Anybody from the administration? Yes, Mayor.
Everybody's entitled to an opinion, and I would like to express mine. So I think mine would carry a little bit of weight, being that I have 38 years in law enforcement in this city. And I will tell you that there have been things that have come along during my career, like in-car computers, the body-worn camera system, the taser, all of those things that have made the policing job easier, better, more efficient, and flock cameras are no different. I will tell you that just in my time, flock cameras have been used in just this city to solve homicides, kidnapping, domestic violence charges, and some of the arguments I hear is, well, flock doesn't stop the crime. But if you think about that a little bit forward, it does stop the crime, because if we arrest this shooter during this shooting incident, he's not out to roam free and shoot again or kill somebody else. We just had a case last week where officers were shot at on a porch as well as the witnesses. That case was solved by flock camera. So if we go back to before we had flock camera, we might have 10 burglaries that occur in a 3-day period. And if a cop gets lucky and he happens on a car in a certain area at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's great. But chances are we didn't, and we had another 10, 20, 30 more burglaries before that person ever got caught. So flock camera systems have gone a long way in reducing property crimes in our nation, reducing all kinds of crime in our nation. So if you look at the crime rate and how it's declined over the last several years, it's been since flock cameras have been around. And I won't say it's specifically for that, but it definitely has a cause and effect in reducing the crime rates here in our country. And I have heard, like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I know some people just don't want their picture of their license plate taken. But going back to a little bit about the security and how it's used in our department, over 38 years, I know the Ohio LEADS and NCIC system, which a police officer runs your plate and gets your information on who it is, who the driver is. We have fired 3 or 4 people and charged them in court with violating the policies of the police department and the laws of the state of Ohio for using that system in the wrong way. And there are policies in place right now that do the same thing for flock camera system. And it's a nationally recognized policy. The sheriff's office has, I think, the same policy, and if not the exact same, very close. So all I'm asking is that we as a society, we as a community, think about what we're doing. If we strap our already strapped police department with taking away the benefit of being able to use that. I know if it was my grandchild, my daughter, one of my family members, I wouldn't care if they used 50 flocks to find out who did it. Have at it, you know? And if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't got to worry about it. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, before I open discussion up to the floor, we've got quite a crowd here tonight. I see some people standing in the back. So I am going to limit discussion to 4 minutes. Try to get through everybody that wants to talk. If we've got time after that, you can go a second time. But we want to get through everyone first. Mr. Rollins.
Thank you, Chair. Truly wild. I gotta be honest, in your rules of decorum there, I gotta say, in 8 years of attending council meetings, I've never once had a first reading of an ordinance and not had the author speak first. Truly wild. I just want to point out, this is a very, very simple piece of legislation. There's essentially 2 main points. The use of flock or any system with similar characteristics shall be prohibited within the city of Marion, Ohio by any person, entity, firm, department, agent, authority, or others. Whoever violates this section is guilty of a minor misdemeanor. A separate offense shall be deemed committed each day during on which a violation occurs or continues. Goes on further. The council directs any current agreement, if any, with flock in the city of Marion, Ohio be terminated. No city official, employee, or agent for the city shall enter into agreement with a provider of or for technology similar to flock without approval of city council. So they can, they just have to come through us first, which they didn't do this last time. I just want to point out, there's no need for this to sit through 4, 5, 6 sessions of Legislation and Codes Committee. Move this thing forward and let's have a robust discussion at City Council, full council, where everybody can have a vote. I just want to point out one last thing and then I will open it up for discussion. You know, when we write a letter to a friend or a loved one, we seal it in an envelope. We do that not because that letter contains some nefarious content, some conspiracy, or some crime. We do it because the contents of that letter is private between the sender and the receiver. The nothing to hide argument is corporate and state propaganda. Privacy is never about hiding a crime. Privacy is about deciding who gets access to you, to your life. Privacy is a boundary of power, not a shield for guilt. Please, do not forget that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, back here. Mr. Smith.
How you doing today? Very well said, Councilman Rollins, Thad Smith, Councilman, 5th Ward. Short and simple, as Councilman Rollins said, the ordinance is very simple and plainly stated. I would just like to encourage the committee here to send it on as it's been submitted so that we can talk and discuss about it on full council and so that all 9 people will have a chance. So the legislation clearly states everything that we intend to do and would like to do, and changing it is not what we want. So please send it on. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, did you have something back there? Yes, ma'am.
I'm just speaking as a member of the public.
Please.
Is it open now?
Please state your name and address.
Francis Rodriguez, 335 North State Street, Marion, Ohio.
Thank you.
Do you know the word avancing means onward, forward, ahead? But a 16-year-old is dead now as of July 4th because we failed her. We failed him. The City of Marion Probation Department failed him because there was a man who was driving on July 4th with the flock cameras.
Okay, go ahead.
Caught over a year of driving on Tennessee license plate according to the neighbor that the vehicle was registered to Tennessee. But where were these flock cameras for us, the citizens? I'm talking as a previous 911 dispatcher for LAPD, so I do have 4 years of law enforcement experience myself too. But I'm not willing to give up my first, 4th, 9th, and 14th Amendment because this is not law enforcement. This is you normalizing us being institutionalized. I went to the prison 2 weeks ago for a job fair, and I had to scan my ID everywhere I went. And I see this is where our country is turning into, where you have to go and give up your ID everywhere you go, where you have to go and give out your social security, the last 4. Every day we're giving up more and more and more of our privacy. This is not what happened in the 80s and 90s, but it's happening to our children. And we're losing more and more freedoms every single day. So how effective are these flock cameras if a person who showed us the worst but was named the best is showing us over and over that we failed a 16-year-old? He cannot live anymore because we failed him. The community failed him. So you guys are telling me that the flock cameras are useful? They're useful, yeah. I saw it on that abduction case, and I saw it on that police shooting case. But what about all the unsolved crimes? What about the 700 and something accidents that we've had today? How are they helping with that? Can we just put them on the exit points to the city? So if something happens, we see the vehicles coming in and out, and we can research that data? I'm telling you because I took engineering statistics last semester from Marion Technical College. I just graduated as an electrical engineer. And the city of Marion is really working backwards because you don't know what you're looking at the data, and you have specialists who have been in that field for 30 years. Did you know that MTC right now, the engineering department head, was a warranty manager? He was the one that did all the recalls for Honda USA. And that right now is our dean. And he's a Six Sigma specialist. And he could look at that data and tell you, okay, this guy has been driving around for a whole year from Tennessee. What's up with this probation department? What's happening with this car? It's been past 30 days. It should have been registered in Ohio. Why is this vehicle not registered in Ohio after 30 days? There's a lot of things that went wrong. And I just want to know, how is FLOC keeping us safe when accidents keep on increasing, when we got more sex offenders moving into our community every single day? I live in downtown Marion, and I'm getting 2 notices a month. I don't want more rapists in my community. So what's happening with FLOC? How is FLOC keeping me safer when I can't even cross the street safely because the crosswalk doesn't work? You can't cross from City Hall to the county safely because the crosswalk doesn't work. My tornado sirens don't work, and you're telling me the FLOC is going to keep me safe? Please.
Thank you. One thing I would like to make a comment is flock will work, but
Not for us.
people have to drive by the cameras for it to take the picture. And then something has to happen hold on please. Something has to happen for the police to get involved in that. And once they are involved, then they can query the flock cameras.
Well, I'm here to speak for Avante because he
Okay,
can't be here tonight.
I think your time is up.
How many
I'm
times
going to call on
Mr.
someone
Best
else
has
now.
that camera?
Thank you. Okay. I thought I saw somebody.
How do you ask her questions and she can't respond?
That's not
You took her time to take.
Okay, she took her time, but you asked the questions.
Do you have something to say, sir?
Hi, Michael Grubbs, 3476 Hillman Ford Road.
Which road?
Hillman Ford.
Okay, you're not a citizen?
I'm not a direct citizen of the...
Do you have a direct interest in?
I do, yes.
Yes, what would that be?
General surveillance. If I'm driving through...
No, we're talking about the city of Marion right now.
Yes.
Now, there is flock cameras in the county, but that would have to be addressed with the county,
Right,
not us.
but you also have them in the city.
Correct.
And so I would like to respond, since I do drive through the city, those flock cameras directly affect me as well.
I don't think I'm going to permit that. Not tonight,
Okay.
when we've got all these people. Thank
Anybody
you.
else want to...
Thank you. No,
He's the chair.
my word
Oh,
is
all right,
what
all right,
matters.
thank you.
Okay. Let me see. Yes, sir. In the green shirt.
Aaron Barkus, 286 South Branch.
Yes, sir.
Could you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
Aaron Barkus, 286 South Branch. So I have a couple of different points that I want to, based on what you guys were saying.
Okay.
I do think that the damage done argument is very dangerous because that goalpost always moves. To say that we have a smartphone, we have a Facebook account, so why would we care about being surveilled in another way? When we've opted into the smartphone, the Facebook account, bank account, there are some people that don't. There are some people that still carry a clamshell phone, don't have a Facebook account, deal in cash, because they don't want to be surveilled. Most of us don't do that. We don't think about those people. They do drive cars, they're registered, so they haven't gone down this slope, but they're caught up with the rest of us. I think that saying that it helps with crimes, that is true, there have been crimes that it helps with. But it would also help with crimes if cops were allowed to kick down anybody's door, go through all their stuff, go street by street, house by house. They would find things that were crimes they didn't know were going on. But the problem is everyone else who isn't doing anything wrong are getting their doors kicked down, getting their houses gone through. And that is something that you can sit here and say that would never happen, but there was a time when you would probably say that a bunch of cameras wouldn't show up on the streets and start taking pictures of everyone without their consent. So we're already several steps down this slope. And there's always going to be a good reason to take one more step and one more step after that. But you are, with the best of intentions, trusting the next guy. If the police chief right now is turning away the FBI and being very careful and needing the case numbers for everything he does, that's great. What about the next guy? He's going to have this. He's probably going to have more. Right now, we only have the ones that take pictures of the license plates. But we didn't know those were coming. It would be ridiculous to say there's no chance that we're going to get the ones that keep track of other aspects of the car, bumper stickers and whatever, so they know who's in there. I don't know if it has the thing where it reads Bluetooth and all that. Those are out there. There's no reason to say that those wouldn't show up one day without telling anybody first. And now you know everybody that's in that car from their cell phone. There's no reason to say that someday the ones that keep track of your gait and your face and your biometrics and they know who you are while you're walking down the street. We don't have those right now, I guess, and that's good. But those could show up without telling anybody, the same way these did. And you never know who the next person with the key is going to be.
You have 30 seconds.
That is about all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate your comments. I believe I saw somebody back here.
How you guys doing? Matt Cooper, 844 Congress Street. I wasn't aware that Mr. Rollins had put an ordinance together. I also, it's been left on all your guys' desk. I handed every single council member and the law director an ordinance, second ordinance, just in case you guys want something to look at, because I made this aware to everybody back in probably October or November that we needed a CCOPS, community control over police surveillance. Now, it's not enough to just ban a flock camera or an ALPR. They have flock ravens, they got drones, they got, they're absolutely, they've got stingrays where they throw up fake cell phone towers and they can pull all your data out of your phone. These are all technologies that you guys are obviously not aware of. So if you're not going to, I would ask you to look at both the ordinances, and that way you guys can see that this is more than just flock cameras. This is about the Fourth Amendment and about people having the right to be secure and not have to worry about being tracked. We're not worried about a picture of a license plate. They track you. It's not a picture, it's a tracking device. If you're on a hot list, have we talked about hot list? Anybody are you guys familiar with hot list?
Yes.
Okay, so what is a hot list?
That's where you're listed, and if you happen to go by that camera or a camera, it pops up.
Oh, what's it take to get on the list?
I have no idea.
Oh, they don't have to have a reason to put you on the list. Investigative purposes. So any cop can put you on a hot list for any reason. Are you aware of that?
No, I was not.
You're not aware of that? All right, so you need to really look at the technology. This isn't about ALPRs at all. ALPR is the least of our worries. The problem is that that camera that they're telling you, oh, we just got the bottom of the barrel, it can be backdated, or it can be, they can rewrite the software, it can be updated. You don't have to buy new equipment.
Yeah. Python software.
Make it make sense. So if you don't have to buy new equipment to update the system, so when do we get to know about the updates?
Can I respond?
Go ahead.
And I'll stop your time so I can respond. We're supposed to be made aware of any changes. We were supposed to be made aware that these have been renewed for a year. That was overlooked. I don't know why, but
Can we stop the extra chatter? I'm sorry. I can't hear what's going on because they're all talking back here every time somebody's talking. I just cannot hear.
Wait a minute, what are you doing? And not all of us are talking, so thank you.
There's a lot of chatter coming from back here, so.
quiet, please.
Agree to speak.
Not in my meeting, unless you're here. If you're up here and you're recognized by the chair, you're free to speak, but not back there. You're disrupting the meeting, and I will not tolerate that. Continue.
Well, you was gonna say something.
Okay, yeah, we are supposed to be made aware, okay? If a flat camera is a fixed point camera, it doesn't have a motor in it so that it can move. So software is not gonna make it move, okay? So that cannot happen. It won't go up, it won't go down, it won't go sideways, okay? Also, if it doesn't have a microphone, it can't be made to hear.
They're
So,
called black ravens, sir.
pardon?
They're called ravens.
That's not what we have, though.
You can go around town and see them on the damn pole, or sorry, you can see them on the poles, but you can see them on
We
the
see the
poles.
flocks, but they don't have the camera or the,
Microphone.
Yeah, microphone.
no, ours do not, okay? So anyway, that's my response,
Okay.
okay? So go ahead and continue.
All right, so they have cell site simulators, they have the guardian mode technology, they have drones. Do you go out at night?
Yes, but we do not have those, and
So-
if they want to get them, they have to go through us for the money.
They just told you a couple of weeks ago that they're gonna go around you regardless.
Well, the sheriff's office got paid for it, but that won't happen again.
Oh, I'm sure it won't. I'm sure it won't happen, because it's not gonna happen again, right?
I'm trying to make sure of it.
You can't even hold a straight face, bro.
You have 30 seconds.
30 seconds, you took up half my time anyway.
No, I
So,
stopped the clock for you.
So really, what it boils down to is we've been being lied to. The reason we have a profile is because the organization, or the administration here has been putting a profile on us since around 95. Everybody here's got a profile about this thick. You know why? Because they've been surveilling us the entire time. This isn't new technology. You think they just had they just got fiber optics?
Okay.
Think they just got cameras?
Your 4 minutes is up, so
Yeah, all right.
thank you. Appreciate it. Ms. Lubke.
Teresa Lepke, 555 Normandy Drive. As I'm listening, I don't know I don't have a specific opinion about whether we should keep the flat cameras or not. I have a strong opinion that we need to slow the process down and understand what the issues are from both sides. I hear issues that people are saying that the surveillance is broader than just these cameras. And I also hear that there's maybe council oversight issues. What are our current policies related to it? So let's look at first, what are the issues within the city of Marion that we want to take care of, and write this legislation that will take care of those. Because if you're on the side that says this is just the tip of the iceberg, then this legislation isn't taking the tip of the iceberg. If you're on the side that we should keep our flock but have better parameters and policies, this legislation isn't doing that either. Also, in the legislation, it doesn't define automatic license plate recognition. It just has ALRP, which is actually a typo and incorrect, and it doesn't define what that is. And that should be defined in legislation. It doesn't even mention ALPRs in the operational section. That's just mentioned in the whereas. So even in the part that you're actually doing something, it doesn't mention what you want to prevent. It's also, Section A is way too broad. Flock Safety now sells a lot of different types of equipment. And so by not defining what that is and saying similar, you're opening up just this huge broad piece of legislation. For those that are worried about personal privacy and private property, this legislation would prevent surveillance cameras and security cameras on private property the way it reads. It would prevent me from putting a similar system if I wanted to just have a camera system and look at the license plate of who pulls in my driveway. I could not do that. I would be fined and with a misdemeanor and have a fine. I think you're rushing things. Decide what the issues are, solve the issues, and if the issue is to get rid of the surveillance system, this is the wrong piece of legislation. It is not written in a way that can be followed and that should be passed.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Mike Clark, 543 King Avenue. I believe, Mr. Russell, if you correct me, when this came across the previous council, I was up here when that came across the floor for the flock cameras. I mean, that did come up from the prior council, and they did vote on some stuff, so I don't know. The general public was unaware, you know, I don't know, but it did come across the previous council. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, let me respond to that. You're correct that when the flock cameras came in, the council was asked to approve it, and they did.
Yes.
But I think one of the sticking issues that we're running into today is that the last time it was done, the county did it, and they got it through without the city having to pay any money. So those cameras that are in the city remained at no cost.
Yeah, but the council did vote on it.
I don't think they did they?
Yeah, they did.
In 2023, the council approved a general order for the police department dictating the usage of the cameras. We never got notified they were going up. I was on council at the time. It was a big brouhaha because they were just there one day.
I remember.
Okay, back here in the back. Somebody who has not spoken before? You spoke before, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead. Name and address.
My name is Nikki Malkiri. I live on 274 Oak Street. As a neighborhood to my fellow community, I actually have a couple concerns. You know, you say that we have to pretty much wait for a crime to happen. So what does that mean for our children? Why should we have to wait for something bad to happen to our children? Did you know a couple months ago, a children's service lady got popped for having fentanyl in her car and in her system on her way to a home visit? How are we supposed to protect our children? So what are these cameras really doing for us in the community? Do we have to wait for a rapist to rape one of our, children for something to be done? Do we have to wait for, help? That's not right in my eyes. Is it in yours?
Let me try to explain as best I know it, and then I can get some backup from.
Did you pause your timer?
Pardon?
Did you pause your timer?
Oh, thank you. The laws of this country do not allow law enforcement to arrest or stop somebody because they think they might cause a crime. They might commit a crime. They can't do that. They have to wait until a law is broken before they can actually approach that person and make an arrest. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm wanting to try to answer your question as best I can, but to the extent that you're saying, does it prevent someone from driving drunk? It does not.
No, I understand. I mean, we just have a lot of cold cases that are unsolved, right? So I'm just trying to understand what really are these cameras doing for our community. I mean, we do have the Fourth Amendment right But in a way, it's almost like our rights don't matter to anyone. It's within our constitutional right to know, what we're going up against. And I feel that we should know more information about these cameras. And it's, like I said, we have rights that are prone to protect us in the Constitution, but not many people know about their rights, correct?
Well, I believe that the courts have ruled that flock cameras are not a violation of Fourth Amendment rights. That's from the courts. So I can't really answer any more than that.
I'm just trying to understand how are we supposed to, keep our children safe, sir, when we're actually failing them.
Ralph, may I?
That's just my opinion.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Trump.
Okay, ma'am, I would like to say, we just had a case, the guy was found guilty in court. He kidnapped a small child from Marion and took him to Indiana, and that case was solved through flock cameras. They tracked the individual to Indiana, and he was arrested there, brought back to Marion for prosecution, and the child was safe. And I believe that was not just a...
6
Last
months ago,
Monday.
probably.
How long was that?
4, 5, 6 months ago.
Yeah, but how long was the child missing?
For probably close to 12 hours, I would assume.
Yeah.
And I think in that instance, to your point, Mr. Clark, it was, there were maybe some other factors that where we would have ultimately been able to identify him, but I think it was by the fact that Flock allowed us to identify the person so quickly that we were able to send a team to the house and get in there and get the kid out of there before something bad happens.
So that, that unfortunately, we can't anticipate crimes. I don't know what you're going to do 5 minutes after you walk out of the building here. But yeah, the flock cameras have helped solve cases,
But-
and with missing children.
But like any electronic, it can be hacked, correct? So how do we handle that?
How do you handle your TV, your car, your cell phone?
That it can get hacked,
Your-
sir.
Yeah, anything with a computer can be hacked,
We control that.
Well, thank you.
certainly.
Thank you. Somebody who has not spoken yet, go from this side. Mr. Daniels.
Daniel, 608 Decatur Street. This ordinance should be vehemently opposed. If we'd stopped at block cameras, maybe I could see it, but there's a lot of people in Marion that have, that have recording devices on their homes, cameras and whatnot, and it sounded like to me, if I didn't understand it, if I didn't completely understand it, that these people would now be guilty of a minor misdemeanor, like a traffic violation, be fined and have to take those down. They're doing that in Canada now. They're forced, the government there is forcing these people to take their cameras down because they don't want crimes recorded. And it's like, and Marion seems to be going in lockstep with that, if you sit there and vote this in place. Now, I'm against it after I heard what he said, because if you'd stayed with block cameras, maybe. Of course, I'm for them actually. But that a certain individual made that added step that's now going to take about 50% of Marion that has cameras on their homes, guilty of a minor misdemeanor and possibly bigger crimes later on. It's like all it's going to take is for a group of people to get together and decide to sue the city and bring that ordinance down and you pass it. And it's like, I don't think you would really want that. I know one person that would be vehemently opposed to it. But I understand their point with the block cameras, because in England right now, they've got cameras everywhere, and they're arresting people for speech. And I perfectly well understand it, but I also perfectly well, considering that I've lived in this town for about 30 years, what it used to be, and how we were able to catch crimes. It's like basically we lucked into it. It was like you had 10 criminals that married local women here that basically were here. And the only reason why they got caught in that sting back in 2009, I believe, was because that the U.S. Marshals were already on the case. They were already here. We didn't know. And then there was that guy that sat there, they locked into, that had 495 grams of crack and various other, because he was nervous. They searched the car and they found it. Well, the 2 pounds of coke that the sheriff's department busted a few years later on the highway. Now, of course, block cameras out on the highway, but I mean, those cases that they talked about, the Marion Star, I mean, you're locked into them. It's like with the block cameras, it's not just for local surveillance, so to speak. It's like you've got people living in here from New York, from Illinois, from other various states. You've got no idea who they are. And it's like without, I mean, yeah, you could have busted that guy who had a revoked license that killed that kid. I mean, that was a, I mean, he should never have been driving. But, I mean, I see a benefit, but I sure don't see it the way that it's being written right now. You got 50% of the people with cameras.
30 seconds.
Okay. I didn't think I'd spoken for that. Pretty much, that's about it. That's it.
Thank you. Sir.
Garrett Mulvey, 824 Winter Street. I just want to say, I think flock cameras should be here. In Saints, I have a family friend. He is elderly, and the flock cameras ended up catching him. He drove off, lost where he was going. He ended up in Lake Erie, and because of the flock cameras, they were able to find him and get him back here safely. And I get what people are saying, but you go into a grocery store every day, there's cameras there. You go into any other store, you came into this building, and there's cameras. So there's benefits to it. I think we should have them, we should keep them for many different reasons, so thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Go from this side. Ms. Craig?
Tammy Craig, 365 Silver Street. I guess one thing, we keep talking about Ring cameras and cameras inside stores and things like that. The difference is those belong to private people and private entities. Unless I'm in Walmart stealing, Walmart can't send me to jail. Walmart can't track my every movement for 30 days. Now, these flock cameras, from my understanding, they hold the data for 30 days. Mr. Smith, I heard you on Mr. Spears, I believe it was last week.
Yes.
And you said you thought there were 4 cameras inside the
No,
city of
there's
Marion?
18, I believe.
I believe it's more around 20, but you guys tell us it's not about surveillance. If it's not about surveillance, O'Reilly Auto Parts to Garfield Park is 1.1 miles. There's 4 cameras. If you go from City Hall to Garfield Park, there's 6 cameras. My own home, there's 4 cameras within a half-mile radius. Why do we need that many cameras if it's not about surveillance? Why does Marmet, the drug task force for NBC4 that's listening, Marmet is our drug task force, why do they find cameras if it's not about surveillance? That's a question I'd like answered, please.
Well, I can't answer for those people. I don't know why they do it.
So do you see our concern when we can't,
Yes, I do.
we can't drive to, I mean, I can't leave my street without flock catching my license plate. I'm not doing anything wrong, trust me, because I'm pretty sure I would have been arrested by now. But if it's not about surveillance, why is the drug task force funding them? And I want to go back to the 2023 ordinance that we all just seem to be conveniently skipping over that says we're supposed to vote on these every year. We didn't vote on them. So why are we even having this harlequinade when we should be voting on the legislation that already exists?
Good point. Thank you. Let's see, this side. Yes, sir.
My name is Brandon Davis. I live at 165 Lauderdale Street, Marion, Ohio. And I'm against the flock cameras because people drive around with their family members, their license plate and their trucks and their family member's name. They move drugs around our city. That way, you say something to the police, I've asked them for help multiple times, and it's non-existent to us. And when something happens, they want you to have it on camera. They want you to have almost DNA on it as well. I mean, they want every little thing to do anything where it's just, well, there's nothing we can do, it's just your word against theirs. I take you to every one of these drug dealers' house up here. They won't follow me to them. So, you know, you want to see the drug problem gone, I went around and found out everybody in Marion who's selling the drugs up here, who's bringing the fentanyl up here, who's bringing the meth, I promise you. And I've talked to that man right there, not him yet, but if you've been a police officer up here for 38 years, what have you been doing? I mean, I was born 39 years ago, Billy Joe Davis.
Speak to the chair, please.
Yeah, I was born up here, Billy Joe Davis, one of the worst people in Marion, in my opinion. And he went to buy crack when I was born and never came back. So, you know, where's our police department? I mean, where's the people that's helping us clean our city up at? You know, they got these cameras that aren't going to clean our city up because the people that are running them, they're not cleaning our city up. I can assure you that Marion is worse than it's ever been. It used to be a community full of white trash drunks, and then it went to coke, to crack, to pills, to fentanyl, and meth. It's everywhere, I promise you. And I mean, how do you expect anybody to clean up in this city if it's on every street, and it's in every family, it's everybody's family and friends that's doing it, and a lot of them are the people that sit on this council that's related to these people. It's your family and friends as well, just like mine and everybody else's, and we're sick of the problem. So you say something about it, and they want you to have it on camera, they want you to have this. Well, I can tell you if they're moving drugs, because there's nonstop traffic around my house. I can tell that there's a 70-year-old man uptown, in his shirt, and it's middle of winter, you know what I mean, dancing on the side of the street. It's happening everywhere. Are you blind? I mean, I don't know what's going on in this city. I mean, I'd be ashamed to drive around here and say I was a police officer. Now, I'd like to see somebody start doing something about it. Now, I'm going to start coming to every one of these meetings and start standing up and saying exactly what I believe needs to be done. I want to see it cleaned up. I say something to these cops, and there's nothing being done about it. I promise you. They come over there, and you say something, say, hey, come patrol my street tonight because there's all these drugs over here. There's a lot of activity going on. They run down the street. They just come over there, and you can watch them just, they're speeding down my street to get off of it. It's because it's out of control over there. They can't get no grasp on it. And it's ridiculous. I mean, the people we're appointing to clean the place up, and we're expecting something cleaned up, and we're sitting here talking about stuff that shouldn't even be here. You know, I mean, people have already told you that the stuff that, they've already voted that they didn't want this up here, and then you guys went around our backs and did it anyways.
No, I don't think that's true.
Well, you look for other ways around everything to push your agenda, not ours. We, the people, are here speaking, and you just keep shutting everybody down. That's got the guts to stand up to you guys and say what needs to be said. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. This side here. The lady with the glasses, I can just barely see her head.
Bevan Peppard, 858 South Prospect Street, Marion. I am here in regards to Flock and some concerns I have. More about like lack of transparency and I guess we don't really know what has been run, right? You can audit these systems, so I'm wondering, like, have you ever been presented with an audit from the sheriff's office about what has been run and for what reason?
I believe there's reports from the police department that come.
Is that an audit?
And that's on the website. No, it's.
Is that the same as an audit, can anyone say?
It's usage. Every time they use the system, it shows up on that report, which I mentioned earlier.
How often is that available? And that's
I think it's-
everything that has been run by
think
this
it's
department
monthly.
is on there monthly?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so.
Because it was my understanding this was not public record and was not going to be made public record.
It's on the website, I believe.
The audit
Okay.
log, I think you're referring to the audit logs, which are not released. So those, the information that's inputted into those systems is basically deemed leads information. So the majority of that information would be deemed unreleased.
And that is my concern as well, as Mayor Collins mentioned, you know, there are other systems that law enforcement use that have been misused. And there have been people that have been terminated for such misuse. But the level to be able to use NCIC doesn't sound like it's the same to be able to run a flock camera search, right? You have to have a case number. I can make up a case number. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm just saying, like.
You can make up a case, but I mean.
But I'm saying, how do we know who's running it and for what purposes?
Well, because that is, so that's part of that monthly audit, right? So in this instance, Major Schaefer goes through that list, shows the reasons those things were run. And these are a lot of the things that have changed and been updated over the last few months have really been in response to things that we hear from the community, right? There was a point in time where the case number was an option. So yeah, someone could go in there and leave it blank. Someone could go in there and put the number 4 and run stuff. It's not set up. So we've evolved and created to where that has to be a case number that can be checked and tracked back to the case. There's a drop-down menu of only certain things that you can run it for. So for instance, immigration, things like that are not listed on there. But I guess to your point, I mean, much like anything else that we do, you know, there does have to be some level of trust, right? And then the understanding that if someone violates that, there are repercussions, as you just pointed out.
But in this case, I don't think that we have any way to do checks and balances because this is not public record. We cannot look at these things and say, yes, it's being used appropriately. All we can say is this is the report that we were given that says, you know, these ones were run for this, because it's not everything.
When you were a dispatcher, did anyone come in and do a public records request for the things that you ran on the vehicle?
A public records request?
Or-
I
or
wasn't
would-
required.
But if someone were to come in and ask for it, to say, hey, I want a list of the last 10 license plate numbers you ran, what would have been our response to that?
That they would need to go talk to the records clerk.
But it would be unreleasable. The actual lead information would be not.
Right.
And much of what's connected to the block system is leads data, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. Bryce Hummel, 1185 Lake Boulevard. Here's one of my bigger concerns with it. I mean, yeah, whole like privacy stuff is definitely a major concern. But another concern of mine is you said earlier about when it comes to getting these installed and how the county was funding it. But is there any other financial effects that's going to happen on the city? Because I know the city is financially screwed. If I may say so myself, we are in horrible finances, which I know a lot of people in here don't really care about. But it's one of the biggest things that I think we need to really look at, and how much it's going to cost us when it comes to like the energy of the city of Marion. And earlier, this gentleman over here was talking about how there's going to be a rate increase when it comes to percentage and how it should be imposed, which I think that's a great thing. I also think it should be imposed. But that's just my biggest concern. I don't want to ask a question, just want to make it known that we really need to look at the financial situation and how it's going to affect the city of Marion too, because we are in horrible, horrible financial position.
Now, you're talking about the flock cameras, how they will affect the finances?
Mostly, yes.
Okay.
That I just want to put it out there that we should also look at how that's going to affect like the finances of the city.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Did you have something, Mr. Clark?
No.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sir, over here.
Hi, I'm Eric McGuire, 369 West Church Street. I have a question for the council. Do you know the date of the last time a flock was misused? Can you give me a date?
I do not. You mean talking in the city of Marion?
No, in general.
No, I have no idea.
It was today.
Was it
There
today?
are thousands of cases. It is up to today. So what guarantees are you giving us that these police officers or outside companies are not using this for misuse?
Well, there is no guarantee that.
Right, that's my
Nobody can guarantee that anybody's not going to misuse anything. You can't guarantee that I'm not going to misuse my home ring camera, okay?
No, but that's not a position of authority.
Right. I agree.
This isn't building trust with the community as police officers. This is building disdain. This is
And that
building
is up
distrust
to-
against the community. Like, why build trust when you can just surveil? When you can just watch everybody and not ask questions, not go and talk to your community. Like, we have these hot dog heroes and all this other stuff I see on Facebook. But like, where were they when the kid was killed? Where were they, like, I work for Gordon Food Service. I was just recently installed with an AI camera in my van. I'm watched every second I leave this out of my house. I'm watched from the minute I drive down Church Street to work, the minute I clock in, the minute I go to work, and every second and every stop. My route goes anywhere from Marengo to Ada, and I see flock cameras everywhere. I'm tracked no matter where I go in the state of Ohio during my job, during my day, and it's oppressive.
Very.
I live in one of the most policed streets in Marion. I live on West Church Street, right down the road here. I walked here. A couple years ago, there was a billboard that was firebombed. And I don't know if the police ever caught the people who did that, but that was, after that, the police were speeding down my street. I counted, I could not sit out on my porch for more than 10 minutes with seeing a cop every 2 minutes speeding down my road. And they can't catch these people? What are you doing? What is going on in this city? That's all.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
I am actually for the flock cameras if they're in the
I need your name and address. I need your name and address.
My name is Brandon Vanis. Many of you know me as B Vanish personality on Facebook. I also own Crown Vertex Solutions, which is an early AI company I started 3 months after ChatGPT's first AI 3.5 chatbox. So if anybody knows AI in this room more than me, stand up. I doubt it. Straight up.
He still needs your address.
217 Franconia Avenue.
Thank you.
So, the flock cameras, the misuse so far. Kansas lieutenant used flock to track his estranged wife, pleaded guilty to stalking and computer crimes. A Kansas police chief searched for his ex-girlfriend 228 times using flock cameras. An Idaho sheriff reportedly searched for his wife's vehicle over hundreds of times. Milwaukee officer allegedly searched for a dating partner and the person's ex nearly 180 times. These are officers completely abusing the system. Okay, you guys said that they found one kid. That's awesome, that's amazing, but how many times are the flock cameras being used in the wrong way, actually? And what type of infrastructure are we building right now with the flock cameras and AI coming about? I can tell that you guys aren't familiar with AI like that. AI can put you in a personality profile, and that personality profile, guess what you're gonna do. Can you imagine that? The AI guessing what you're gonna do. It's gonna guess that you're gonna rob a bank. It's gonna guess that you might speed through a traffic light, and then you're getting tickets for an AI actually guessing. A person was actually arrested in North Carolina because the AI misidentified him. He sat a week in jail, lost his job, sued the public. Now, I don't want to be sued because we're 8.5 million in debt right now.
Please address the council.
You want me to address, well, I'm sorry.
Yes, not the.
I apologize. Yeah, we're 8.5 million in debt right now. So what are we actually doing? And how is the flock cameras actually helping this county? I mean, if we have flock cameras or anybody needs to be watched, it needs to be people inside of the auditor's office, people that's misplacing money. We don't need to be watched. Y'all need to be watched.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't have a long speech, I just have 2 points to make. What everybody is saying basically is on point. These are baby stones, stepping stones to a future.
Could you give your name and
Ashton
address?
Seals, 1920 Victory Road, lot 164. Flock cameras are stepping stones to a future of surveillance on a level we've never seen. They're already starting it with AI. They're already starting it with any type of model out there that we talk about, ChatGPT, Claude. Watch the video of Bernie Sanders talking to Claude. You will be shocked what they're collecting. And Flock is part of that. I have no problem if the city, and only the city, has control of these cameras. There's no reason why, if everybody we voted in locally says, okay, yeah, we want these cameras, but we're gonna cut Flock off. There are cameras and nobody else's. That's great. But our pictures, our license plates are being sold to Flock. That's what these contracts are. They are selling them to Flock. And actually, that's my main point, so.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
How you doing? I'm Kenneth Oates, 367 Indian Court. I'm not popular man on this one, but I'm not against the law. Per the Fourth Amendment, you only have to have privacy in your personal and private. But unfortunately, city streets are public to everybody. I can walk around with a camera right now and record everybody legally. So I don't see why everybody's talking about the Fourth Amendment. It doesn't violate it whatsoever. Does it need to be more monitored and regulated? For sure. But I just don't think it's wrong. I think it's right that like I said, if I want to go out there and record, I want to. And nobody can do anything about it. But that's it.
What was your name again, sir?
Kenneth Ovis.
Ovis?
Yeah, H-O-V-I-S. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Ma'am.
Hi. My name's Taylor Rose, and I'm a resident of Ridgewood, Ohio, but I work here in the city.
Thank you.
I would like to ask, how are we supposed to trust the city with our best interest at hand when we can't even trust the financial decisions being made? Marion is now in a fiscal emergency because of $12 million that was mismanaged. How do we know that the flock cameras are in the hands of the people that are responsible enough to manage them? Who has access to the information?
The police department.
Only the police department.
I think you have to grant permission if anybody else wants to see it, is that correct?
Yeah, in terms of other agencies that are accessing.
Does anyone have access to, or does anyone that has access to that information in the past, were they the ones that had access to the $12 million that went missing?
I don't think, no.
No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Townsend.
Phil Townsend, 3634 Harding Highway West, 992 Jamaica. You keep framing like the biggest problem that you saw in your research as hacking. I don't see that. I don't see that in any of my research. I see it's people of low character using and abusing authority. So it's a little disingenuous. I'm just saying that to you, Mr. Snow, because I know you're a little smarter than that.
When you're finished, I'll answer.
Okay. I would encourage everybody to remember that we're at the 250th birthday anniversary of the United States of America experience. And a good portion of us, our ancestors, came from a country and countries that were ruled by kingdoms, monarchies. And we didn't have any rights. We didn't have rights to privacy. We didn't have rights to freedom of speech or to question our public servants. We didn't have those rights. And 250 years ago, we went to war over that. And a very small, unknown little country fought the biggest kingdom in the world to gain those freedoms. So I get a little pissed off when people frame my rights as if you're not doing anything wrong, why are you worried about it? That's what the king's men used to kick in the doors and say, if you're not doing anything wrong, don't worry about it. And what was wrong today might not be wrong tomorrow, or what was right today might be wrong tomorrow. So that changes. You keep going back to audits. The audits coming from the police department, they're necessary, but you don't let the police police the police. I mean, we have to have an outside audit. I would encourage somebody like Mr. Rollins having access to whatever and being able to audit the audit. You know, it's about trust. You had a contract with the police, I guess, in the original ordinance that allowed this, that said that, you know, there was funding that city council controlled, and city council also controlled the authority for them to even be in the city. I remember a month or so ago it being brought up at council, and it was discussed that there was no money, so I guess it was just a moot issue, but nothing was brought up about, and I don't remember anybody coming here and talking to and asking council for permission to move forward. So if they don't have permission, aren't they illegal? Isn't this all a moot issue? The cameras they had no permission. They didn't follow your trust in them to come back to city council and ask for your permission. They took it. That's what happens. That's what happens when you give your rights away to government. And it has nothing to do with, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, so why should I worry about it? That's a bunch of crap.
Now, can I respond to, the thing about hacking, what I was talking about was, you know, a vulnerability of the Condor type camera where there are internet bots that go out and scan the IP addresses, and if they see something, they latch onto it and they probe further. Well, that was a vulnerability and that was a hacking. And that has since been corrected. Also, there was instances of where individual saw the buttons on the back of the camera and they were able to push the buttons and access. But these are people with knowledge of systems.
Sure.
So they did that. The deals with law enforcement officers searching for girlfriends, that wasn't hacking. You know, that was just improper thing, and that has been addressed also. So Flock is trying to address. Pardon?
How's it been addressed?
With the requirement to have a case number and a reason.
So again, we trust. We trust that they're going to do it right, but we don't have any outside audit to audit them to make sure that they're doing it right. And that's the whole thing. We're trusting people's character. And I'm not trying to besmirch anybody's character here. But, you know, we see time and time and time again, when you look this stuff up online, that hacking doesn't come up as the issue. What comes up as people of poor character taking they shouldn't have, and they were entrusted with.
Okay, let me call on some other people. And
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone who has not spoken yet? Yes, sir. Kevin.
Susan Kelly, 65 East Farming. Lieutenant Gruber has mentioned that you can't release this information out to the general public. Perhaps we could create a citizens review board, limited number of people trusted by the community to review this and actually what's been requested to go beyond the report that's given to the general public monthly. As an idea, the kidnapper case a few months ago was caught in Indiana. I presume he was caught on their Flock camera.
Both ours and theirs. That's
Right.
like
But no, okay, so the next question is, if we weren't part of the system, would we have been told that he was there? So we wouldn't have been able to find out where he was at, and the kid would have been gone. Those people that are complaining about cameras and all this, there's cameras in this room, and I believe, Secretary, they're active now. Yeah, so I mean, nobody's ever complained about them, so I don't understand this.
They're not moving around. They're in this room. They're not.
Mr. Russell?
Actually, previous council did complain about the cameras because they weren't asked when they went in.
Yeah.
Mr. Russell, help me out with this one, if I may.
Let me, Mr. Russell, you can answer that.
Yep, go ahead, Mr. The license plate on my vehicle actually belongs to the state, correct?
Yes.
So why are we complaining about a government agency or a entity under government contract taking a picture of state property?
Because it's our right.
It's not your property.
Silence from the audience, please.
My final point is the supremacy clause. The U.S. Constitution has it, their law supersedes everybody else. Ohio Constitution has it, their law supersedes every other person underneath it. And I would imagine the county has it, and their authority overrides ours as a city. So we may not have the right to do anything about this.
Thank you. Anybody else who has not spoken yet? Ms. Mayor?
Kimberly Mayor, 890 Gephardt Street. I'm glad to see so many people out here.
Me too.
Either in support or against the cameras. I'm glad to see that the people are using their voice. Amendment 4 has been brought about again and again. At the beginning, it says, the right of the people to be secure in their persons. I understand we're talking about cameras in a public place. But if I'm walking down the street and I'm feeling like I'm being on this hot list that they do have, and I have paperwork that the chief of police gave me a few months ago when the representative was here from Flock. But, I'm gonna lose my train of thought. We have a right to be secure in our person. So if I'm walking down the street, now if I'm feeling like this camera is getting me in this camera and they're pinging from this to this, because they do catch people, it's not just vehicles. It's not just vehicles.
I don't think the ones in Marion do.
Maybe, but here's the thing, there's upgrades all the time. We weren't told about these cameras. I seen these cameras go up, and I was like, what are these cameras? And I seen this weird post from Mr. Schauber, who was on the council at the time. These cameras were in the ground before they were ever voted on. But back to the amendment part, because I know I have to take time. This is our constitutional right to be secure in the person. No ordinance is allowed to take that away. So you put in your cameras on the edge of the street, makes me feel like I'm not secure in my person. Because when I leave my house, I live on Gebhardt. I go over by Central Soya. So by the time I get to Jefferson Street and that Center Street area, because I'm on my phone, I've got pictures in case anybody wanted to know what they look like. Because I spent my time this morning, I went from my house to the West End looking for cameras. But this town's bigger than I thought. And my legs are only so strong to go on the bike, right? But it's to be secure in our person. It goes against the constitutional right to be secure in the person. I know they're talking about it, whether or not it is, but it kind of is, I meant. Common sense says so. And the fact that you guys had this ordinance already and it wasn't followed completely the first time, and now we brought them back in, and you just said earlier, oh, well, they did this and this, and that's not going to happen again. And then you guys are only here for a minute. And the next thing you know, more people is going to be coming, more people is going to be coming, and different chief, and different this, and different that. Who says we can trust those people? Once those cameras are there, they're there. Being right, secure in our person, that's this. This has to do with the Constitution that you all swore to. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone who hasn't spoken yet? Yes, sir.
Nathan Stevenson, 225 Duluth Avenue, 4th Ward. I'd like to thank a couple of people who have spoken. The gentleman in the green shirt. Sorry. The gentleman in the green shirt, I think, made some excellent points about the fact that just because there are other forms of security in the world, that there are other forms of surveillance, that we give up our rights or we agree to the surveillance of things on our phone, of Facebook, of all of the apps. I think that the majority of us would rather not do that, but we don't have access to these forms of media and communication unless we agree to the terms and conditions. And I think that trying to justify a new piece of technology that surveils us based on a piece of technology that we'd already rather opt out of if the option was given is a weak argument to be made. I have a small statement prepared here, so I'm going to try and get through that in the 4 minutes. The Supreme Court has recently ruled on geofence data, falling under the 4th Amendment and requiring a valid warrant. In Virginia in 2019, there was a robbery, and the police had acquired a geofence warrant to perform a dragnet, which would acquire the phone data of everyone within several hundred yards at the time of the robbery. They then identified a suspect, and that suspect went on to court and said, "You are violating me and everyone else's 4th Amendment right because you've taken our location data." The lower court was split on whether it falls under the 4th Amendment, but they ultimately settled on allowing the evidence to proceed to prosecute. It then went on.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Is this pertaining to flock or?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry. It then went on to the Supreme Court, who made up the decision that yes, it does fall under the 4th Amendment, and therefore requires a valid warrant. So they then sent it back down to the lower courts to decide whether the police had a valid, reasonable warrant to perform the dragnet. The key item to pay attention to is that the police had stated that it shouldn't fall under the 4th Amendment because they're only getting a slice of those people's location data, which was for approximately 2-hour time frame. The Supreme Court ruled that it does not matter the length of time if they acquire that type of information data from the people, it immediately falls under the 4th Amendment. So how does this connect to the flock cameras? In 2024, 2 individuals sued the city of Norfolk, Virginia, claiming that the flock cameras across their city were performing a dragnet capturing their daily movements, which was a warrantless search which should trigger the 4th Amendment. The lower courts ruled that it doesn't, and that it is constitutional for flock cameras to do what they do. Flock proudly displayed this U.S. versus Shatry ruling on their website, on their homepage, to declare the constitutional legitimacy of their organization. However, now the Supreme Court has ruled that U.S. versus Shatry does fall under the 4th Amendment. The flock camera ruling this severely damages the flock's argument in Schmidt v. City of Norfolk, and it now has been appealed. The lower court either now has to agree with the Supreme Court and say that it does fall under the 4th Amendment via U.S. versus Shatry, or that they don't agree with it and it will be then sent to the Supreme Court, who are almost certainly to say that it does fall under the 4th Amendment. As some other people have brought up, the city of Marion is in financial troubles.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay. And I think that it's worth noting that I do believe the Supreme Court is going to make a ruling on flock in the near future, hopefully the next 6 months to a year. You know, they work at their speed.
I hope they do.
And as we all. And I think that it is worth noting that the city may come under fire for potential lawsuits, which would be financially costly, and we should try and avoid. I would also like to just say broadly, if I may have a quick comments. I have spoken with the police and seen their system personally. I believe that they are operating the system very well and that they are doing everything correctly. Here in the city of Marion, our officers, I believe that they are doing a good job in doing things correctly, but as some people have said, just because things are being done well now doesn't guarantee it in the future. And we are the land of the free and the home of the brave, and I'd hate to see that as the land of the surveilled and the home of the timid. So.
Thank you, sir. Anybody who has not spoken? Yes, the lady, or the guy, I guess, back in the corner. All I could see was a hand.
Well, I'm Wayne Turner from Waterloo Street. I just have a few points and a couple of questions. One point is, they were illegally installed because they didn't go through the proper channels. Two, how much did they cost? We're in a financial crisis. Three, how much does it cost to keep them operating? Four, the police isn't the only people that get this information. People that made those cameras, just like those Dominion voting machines, they have all that information. Five, these data centers are being made to ruin our water, electric, everything else, because they need the data. This is the data they're putting in the center, the block camera. So I'm not against law enforcement finding criminals, but these cameras got to go. They're illegal. They cost too much. You can go buy a camera anywhere that don't cost as much as them. And they don't cost 75 grand a year to keep up, isn't that it?
$3,500 a month, I believe.
$3,500 a month?
Per camera.
Per camera, wow. Well, we're about out of the financial crisis, kicking these cameras out of town. Why don't we just go buy some regular cameras and have them put them up instead of doing that? Our information is not only going to the police department. People that made those cameras got that information too. And they do whatever they want with it. Just like those Dominion voting machines. I mean, it's an electronic device made by people you don't know, nobody knows, the sheriff don't know, and where's that information go? It don't only go here, it goes other places too. It's on the internet, you can look it up, and I'll be glad to talk to you later about what I found out. So that's what I'm saying. It's bad for the city of Marion to have block cameras. If you want to have cameras, do it a different way, but these got to go.
Well, very quickly, I think if block cameras are a violation of rights, any other camera would be too. That's just my...
Well, I didn't say it was a violation of rights.
Right. Well, I mean, that's...
I said your data's going every place else.
Right.
That's why they need the data centers for the flock cameras and all the surveillance of everybody. When you get up every day, pretty soon, well, you know, your Roku TV and all that, they watch you while you're sitting there in your underwear watching TV.
Alexa, listen.
So, I mean, and that's what they need the data center for. And these flock cameras are right in there, and like, yeah, there's a nefarious purpose to them, and it's all over the internet. I'm not gonna go into it, I got 4 minutes. But, you know.
30 seconds.
Okay, well, you know, that's my point. Too much money, illegally installed, they shouldn't even be here. And so, if you want cameras, do it the right way.
Thank you.
But these gotta go.
Thank you.
May I, Mr. Smith? As information, the city has not spent the money on the block cameras. This is grant money that the sheriff's...
Can I answer that? When you get done?
The sheriff's department got the grant and got the grant to renew. It did not pass through this, the funding did not pass through the city council for an approval because it's a county issue. I'm done.
Okay.
Nobody throws out hundreds of thousands of dollars for nothing.
No comments, please.
Okay.
Anybody who has not spoken? Yes, ma'am. Mr. Cooper, I believe you've spoken already?
Yeah, I told you.
Cindy McGuire, 519 South Main Street. So I am all about like keeping our neighborhoods safe and family friendly. I've been part of Block Watch in our neighborhood for a lot of years until, I don't know what happened to that program. We lose our funding for that, or, anyway, nobody ever contacted me anymore. But my point is, so the sheriff's office got a grant for these flock cameras from Homeland Security,
I'm
correct?
not sure who it came from.
Well, why, we should know who that came from.
Well, it's a county grant, so we're not privy to that.
But they put them in the city.
Well, they were already in the city. I wasn't here when the grant initially came through and they were installed, but the cameras were already here. The latest instances was that the sheriff got a grant and worked out a deal that the city didn't have to pay anything, so they just left them. And that's my understanding.
I have a lot of concerns about where the money's coming from, especially if it's Homeland Security and ICE. We've just seen devastation to Minneapolis, Chicago, New York City, any place that isn't in favor of our elected officials in Washington seems to be under some kind of surveillance, and that's my concern. I just want to keep Marion family friendly. Yeah, I want to keep it safe from crime, but it seems like if they're giving us money, they should be able to have access to that information. You can't tell me they can't strong arm the sheriff's office into divulging whatever information they might need to utilize that is, coming from the flock cameras. And, look at what Dayton is doing. Look what Columbus is doing. People are, more than just Marion, is questioning where this information is going to. And like the gentleman said, okay, this is the technology that we have now, but who's not to say that that's not going to be upgraded in the future? I've never felt like I was that watched over until you realize, as I drive from here to New York, that there's cameras all over the place. And I get it, we go into Walmart, we come in here, and there's cameras all over the place. But how that information is being used gets to be more and more nefarious. We are having Homeland Security kill American citizens. We are out protesting peacefully, and yes, we have peaceful protests here in Marion. But the allegations is that Flock is watching who's coming out for these things, and the whole thing with all the voter nonsense going on, that your vote isn't safe, and we need all the voter rolls that were turned over here in Ohio. Don't you see the bigger picture of where Flock is? That's the problem, is that Flock is Big Brother now. And we're all being watched. And yeah, I don't do anything wrong, but I do come out and peacefully protest because that's my right. And that should be everybody's right.
It is.
And we shouldn't feel threatened because we're doing that. So that's all I have to say, but
Okay,
I feel like the sheriff's office needs to be questioned then, as far as who is asking for, do you not have access to that? Who's being asked, what is being asked of the sheriff's department that they got this grant? That what information is being asked from Big Brother, Homeland Security, ICE?
30
I don't know.
seconds.
That's my question. Do we not have the right to find that out?
Oh, I'm sure we do, but I'm not privy to that information right at this moment.
Okay, it's kind of like me complaining at my doctor's office that, nobody answers the phone. You're the people that we see.
Right.
You're the people that allowed this to be put in place. Or at least if you're not objecting to it, if you don't speak up, then it's acknowledged that it's okay.
Right.
So you're the guys that,
I'm sure we'll find out. Thank you.
if I give you my phone number, will you call me and let me know?
Yes, I will.
I appreciate that.
Write it down, give it to me.
I will, okay.
Thank you. Anybody who has not spoken yet? Okay, in the interest of time, I'm going to go till 8:30, so I'll let some people speak the second time. I'm going to hold this over for another committee meeting in 2 weeks, so you'll get an opportunity then to speak again. So Mr. Townsend, I believe, then Mr. Cooper.
Philip Townsend, 364 Harding Highway, West 992, Genoka. The whole argument of they're everywhere, so, oh well. As I said before, 250 years ago, there were redcoats everywhere. And a lot of people said, oh well, there's nothing we can do. But there were a lot of people that stood up and said, no, we can fight. We can fight to get rid of those redcoats. Because there's cameras everywhere doesn't mean there should be. Because they're on everything, because they're on your TVs, doesn't mean they should be. They're there and they're everywhere because legislators allow it. You are legislators. Legislate. You know, this whole argument of if somebody murders somebody and we can catch them with a flock camera, then they don't murder somebody else. Well, 42 years ago, somebody wrote a written confession and it sat in a filing cabinet for 42 friggin' years. And Naomi Craig's mother was murdered. I'm not laughing at that, I'm laughing at the Campbell part. She was murdered. How many other people that were murdered because of that same person? My suggestion is, why doesn't the police just use good old police work? You know, if you got a written confession, solve the crime. Everybody in town knows who all the dope boys are in Marion, Ohio. Everybody in town knows, man. They're making babies everywhere. They got baby mamas everywhere. HEAP, PIP, Community Action, they all know who they are.
Please address the committee.
Why can't we do things with common knowledge? We don't need this technology. They don't even solve the crimes with the common knowledge. Have a great day and love your city.
Thank you.
Matthew, 54 Congress Street. All right, so, you said, well, it was Jamie Golly said that he's not sharing it with the FBI? Is that what it said?
Yes, I believe so.
Mr. Collins, are you FBI National Academy graduate? Are you an FBI National Academy graduate? You are, okay. So our state highway patrolman, our chief out there, he's an FBI National Academy graduate too. Matter of fact, our sheriff's department, he just went through FBI National Academy training too. So, and Chris Atkins just went through National FBI. So, they're not sharing with FBI. They are the FBI.
Well, they graduated from that for training for Marion, Ohio. But the FBI organization has requested information from us and we have refused, or the police department has refused it. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
The FBI works at the police department.
Taking the training doesn't make them an agent. There's a difference.
Okay, all right. So you think that that's, don't you think that's an awful big concentration of FBI trained people?
Well, I think the more the better, really.
All right. So with this, with Flock, is anybody familiar with Langley, Virginia?
Please address the committee, please.
Are you familiar with Langley, Virginia?
CIA.
Familiar with it?
The CIA. What's this guy's last name? Do you know what the founder of Flock's last name is? Langley. It's pretty interesting. Just a little bit of food for thought for everybody.
Okay, thank you. Anybody back here have anything? Let's see. Let's go to this side over here.
My name's Brandon Davis, 165 Lauderdale Street, Marion, Ohio, and I just want to say that what about the people that misused, how did the cameras protect people when the people misused the cameras in those situations?
I wouldn't know, really.
But that's what I'm saying, that they're here to help and protect us, but then people are misusing them. And what about those individual cases where they're being misused?
Right.
So you're not protecting, it's a 50-50 or a win-lose situation. And I can just tell you now that you guys aren't, the police department's not keeping us safe in Marion. Drugs are way super out of control up here. And I don't even see what you guys have in plan to really stop it or get anything under control. And I sit here and watch these, you guys are elected officials, and a lot of you don't seem too happy about being here. So how are we going to get anything changed if you're not even, if you don't even want to hear what the people even have to say? Not you, or not you necessarily. He looks like he's a pretty unenthusiastic about being here today. And he's gotten upset every time I've heard somebody say something sideways or whatever. We have a freedom of speech while we're up here, right?
Yes, you do.
Okay, then that's the only thing I want to bring up, that you guys just mislead, you bring up your points and the rest of the points are just disregarded and they're never followed up with. And they're never followed up with the committee to where the people can hear what is actually the answer. So maybe you could put it on Marion Crime Chronicles and follow up with some of the answers that we've had here today.
I believe the clerk makes sure that these are live cast, right? I mean, they're broadcast.
The administration does that, but they are live.
They are live, and you can go in and review them anytime.
Yeah, I'd just like some answers to some of these questions that we're bringing up here. I mean, we just keep bringing it up and there's nothing being solved. We're just sitting here talking. I mean, I'd like to see.
That's what this is for.
Yeah, I know, but I'd like to see some stuff put in place to where some actions are taken if people are misleading us, not using our trust, right? I'd like to see people start getting prosecuted. I mean, you guys are elected officials that are supposed to be changing the law or making the law to where we can get some change around here because things are out of control in Marion, Ohio. So how do we change the law to bring it to where people can afford to live here and people can afford to be safe in their streets? The drugs are everywhere up here. They're on every street, I promise you. So where are these cops at that we're paying? Where's all that money? The only people I would believe that are actually doing their job up here is probably the fire department. But the houses are so run down and shitty up here, they're better off to just insure them and let them burn to the ground, I believe. So, and with that, I rest it. You guys have a great day. Yeah, you guys have a good day.
Mr. Kelly. And Mr. Kelly will be the last person to speak tonight on this subject. But we will be open for business 2 weeks from tonight. Go ahead.
Before you do anything with this legislation, I would like to see you get a legal opinion as to how this is gonna, is it even legal to do this, since this county sheriff put the cameras up, and the city is in the county. So I see jurisdictional questions here, and I would strongly suggest you get a legal opinion on that matter before you pass legislation that might put us in legal peril and have to defend it in a lawsuit. Not saying anything pro or con on the cameras, just, again, like I said last time before, let's do this correctly. Maybe you could pursue this and have it done for 2 weeks from now, hopefully. And did we invite the sheriff and the county prosecutor to this meeting?
Yes. Well, he's going to be here next August 3rd. We will have the sheriff.
2 weeks.
And, yeah, and we'll have some people here to speak.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and that will conclude debate on this matter. Let's make this the first reading. We will pick it up again next week.
Yeah, I got about 30 seconds to say.
I got something that's 15 seconds to say.
Debate is over.
You said till 8:30.
I changed my mind.
Block owns their stuff, we don't get control of that. Block owns their stuff, we don't get control of their data.
Please don't make me ask you to leave, okay?
She'll let me talk.
What if they arrested for not having the vaccination?
Please don't make me ask you to leave. My patience is only so big. Okay, next item of business. Clerk, would you read the ordinance title?
Ordinance authorizing the creation of a designated outdoor refreshment area, DORA, within downtown Marion.
Thank you. Okay, anybody on the committee have any comments on this?
I don't know if downtown Marion, if Alan's here perhaps, or so, but I know Evelyn is. Let me go ahead. If Evelyn, would you mind coming up? And because I've got maybe some questions for that. We had a whole packet of that I had talked to several businesses in the area as well. And my concern was, I don't know if people are not using this properly and so forth, aside from what had been the concern with the parking lot at Epworth Church to the west, not being aware about the previous expansion of the Dora area. What I really want, I had no problem with that being adjusted, quite frankly, because it was just in support of those going to AA meetings and so forth. It was just that appearance. And I know the city has acted. They put up, the non-Dora areas and so forth. And I think the two businesses from High Street East, I think they probably have, I think they've got non-Dora stickers in their window. I think that's a good interim solution, but what I want to do is not just do the Dora, just adjustment there. I want to make sure that that we ask the ones that are participating, especially on the perimeters, if those need to be adjusted somehow and not have to go through it again. What I want to ask you, Evelyn, is explain that 5-year process, because are we like in year 3.5 or something, that second one?
So we adopted it, I believe it was like July of 2023. It would go to 28, so we were kind of halfway through. Evelyn wore on this regional planning. I do have, and I received, I believe, 5 or 6 more today, so I will give the clerk for the record 17 letters
I
of...
think Alan already sent them to me.
Oh, all of them? Okay.
Yeah, I gave them a boatload of these letters.
Yeah. Okay. I printed them out. So we have been going door to door and just asking, as you say, particularly those. And the other thing that you haven't had, but I asked my staff to kind of just give you a map, since many of you are new with kind of the history of the Dora, and then also just what it could be or what different proposals, depending on, the draft that I made up was just kind of hypothetical without knowing which guidance you'd like to go. So the first, I'm going to stand up here for a minute to try to explain it to you. The first one is what we currently have. These are our boundaries in option 1. In that case, we can just do as Mr. Kreider said, is, make sure the stickers of who's in, who's out, are abided by, etc. If we, in option 2 is take Epworth parking lot out. Technically it's in, but let's make it noticeable that it is, they desire to be out, or actually change the whole, go through the whole rigmarole to just take the one parcel out. The other idea is stop at High Street. That's what I kind of put as the draft, just as a placeholder until we make any decisions. That involves about 13 parcels, and that kind of shows how this red area on option 3, they're out then. Redraw to stop at State Street. So I'm kind of inching it farther, as you see. Number 5, redraw back to our original one, which was our kind of pilot program of a very small area. Just for ideas, if we were to redraw it to the maximum acreage that's permitted by law, it could be something as large as this, so you can see how it could go way, all over the place. And then always the what we call an infrastructure, no build solution, which is do nothing. what if we just do nothing and just wait till 2028 and
Let it
do
expire.
it then, you
Or
know?
just-
So we also tried to say what would be the process, as you can see, kind of being more robust on the signage as it currently is obviously cheapest and easiest. Everything else, regardless of whether it's one parcel or half the city, is all the same process.
Okay, so legally, then, if we do some adjustments, do we have to, well, I don't know, rescind or vacate the current for the new? Because it takes a lot of, there's a time element. We have to have public hearings and everything to start the whole thing again. That's why I said, let's look at the thing in the entirety, because it is a longer process, quite frankly, with that. So, all right. I had questions too. I mean, I had a couple of, like the Historical Society, for example, they had event-specific, where they would have an alcohol situation, and I was seeing if they had any, like, for example, on our third Thursdays, if they were attracting, people to come over and that type of thing. I'm not seeing a heck of a lot of users. I've only seen, my goodness, it's been in effect for a while.
We've had it ultimately since 20.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and I've only seen people cross Center Street to, on Main Street a couple of times, and that's been mainly during, like, the third Thursday events and that type of thing, but nothing else. And the idea, as far as being dispensed, having your drink having to be dispensed before you go into another place that serves alcohol, poured out or consumed, I really think it has a situation where it's not matching the patterning of the users as much. I think people, if they go to a place, they might go one or two places, but they will finish everything there before they leave. Fine, if they want to have that convertibility or that flexibility, I'm okay with that, but it's just like, I think, though, the main concern was that when it was expanded the last time, that it was done, so I don't think everybody was informed well, honestly. And that's just what it boils down to. But having to redo it, let's reevaluate the entirety, so then we can, go ahead and, readjust where should be needed.
And I guess the other point, I mean, we all know we're in a community that we take recovery seriously, so I don't want to make light of it, because here's something that is counterproductive to some people. And so I can appreciate or respect anybody's opposing views. So I want to make that clear. This is more from the business standpoint of trying to create an environment in which small businesses can, do things that assist them any way that they can, and, kind of making downtown as itself a destination. So that's, kind of the intent of.
Evelyn, can I ask you a question? Looking at photos 2 through 6, would it be the same procedure to do either one of those? So no matter if we go with 3, 4, 5, or 6, it's the same procedure to go through?
Right, to legally, totally legally exclude them from the district. I mean, they can always, I guess, keep in mind, everywhere within the district, you are legally able to opt out with signage. You do not have to participate, and you can say it is not welcome. So, to some extent, the effect of number 1 and number 2 are similar, because again, they not only opt out, but legally be removed from the district. The only thing is, in order to do that is, if you truly want to carve them out officially, then you do actually have to do all that. If until such time, more robust signage and even if, I know that the neighbor next to them, I don't know what sort of, if they have a sticker or not.
I think they do, yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. If they were to change their mind or whatever and say no, that would kind of take it to High Street. But again, that's all up to those property owners. I did speak to them. They didn't have strong opposition, but they also want to be respectful of the church. So, that property owner may choose whatever they choose. you know, so that can be remedied that way as well.
I know you spoke to, what, 18 different businesses, and 16 of them said that they wanted to stay in, correct?
Yeah, all of them did
Oh, all of
actually. So
them?
far, we haven't found anybody that,
Okay.
other than the church that wanted to be taken out. And that included, to my own surprise, United Church Homes, you know, the Historical Society. I don't know, I think we've got to look through there. I think
Yeah, well, the
ministries, some of them I wouldn't have been surprised if they said, no, you know, it's not our thing, or we're maybe, you know, value judgment would prefer to be out, but so far, not the case.
Okay, and so if we took this back to High Street or State Street, how many people would we be cutting out of Dora that want to be there, you know?
I think on the right-hand side, there's a chart that says how many parcels would be
Oh, okay.
impacted
Yeah,
and how many
yeah.
businesses or buildings.
27. Okay. Is there any way we could do this without having to go through the whole process? No.
No, that's just dictated by state law.
Okay. All righty, well, thank you. Anybody else have any questions for her?
No.
Anybody from the city?
Actually, I do. I don't know if there's been any ramifications of misuse or citations or anything. I don't know of any problems that were from it, so, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the floor. Mr. Kelly, I believe I saw you first.
Sulu Kelly, 365 East Farming. I remember the discussion that the decision was made to include the Historical Society. But as I've been, because of this discussion, watching for the sign report, I see that the apartment building beside them, to the
South.
Thank you.
The Frontenac, that's a Frontenac.
It's a what?
It's called the Frontenac, that building, it's called the Frontenac.
Okay, but it's apartments. Did you talk to that business owner? I'm sorry, I addressed her, but,
No, that's okay. That I'm not familiar.
because as a landlord myself, I wouldn't want to be in the Dora. Aside from my feelings on drinking, as a landlord, I would want to encourage any outside alcohol consumption on my property. So, as you're considering changing this, perhaps you should instruct Evelyn to check with that property owner and see what they want to do, and maybe make that change also with it.
Yes.
On all residential properties, do you think,
Well-
or rentals, or?
Well, particularly that one, because I noticed that it was in. I don't know if there's any others that would be on the edge that would be questionable.
All righty. Thank you, appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Daniel Erickson, 912 Cambridge Avenue. I'm the person who brought this whole issue up. And a couple of things I want to make sure it's very clear. I identified myself as the lay leader at Epworth United Methodist Church, but I made it very clear, tried to make it very clear, that I was coming here as an individual, as a concerned citizen, not my relationship with the church. The only reason I mentioned that was because it's because of my relationship with the church that I know that we have recovery groups 6 days a week. And that parking lot that was included in the Dora is where those participants park their cars and where they go on break. We also allow the Irie Dance Academy to use that parking lot. That's a business that services children. And so I had an immediate reaction to that. I will say that after my first mention of all of that concern, that the mayor did actually get in touch with me, went out, took a look at it, and the next thing I knew, the signs were up that said non-Dora area. So it fixed the problem as a temporary solution. The bigger issue to me was the fact that City Council, and I know it wasn't you, it was your predecessors, but City Council made the decision to expand the DORA into areas without knowing who owned property, without consideration for the fact that it was going through residential neighborhoods. It kind of just expanded wildly. I mean, it's very obvious why it went as far west as it did, so the Bucci's could be in there. But without consideration for the fact that across the street from Bucci's is a halfway house that's included in the DORA. Totally inappropriate. Snyder Funeral Home, I know that there were jokes made about that. I don't think they want to be in a DORA either. But I don't like the idea that decisions can be made. We're going to just decide that here's this new area for no good reason. And it doesn't include areas. I know that, downtown Marion got all up in arms because I don't think they listened to what I said initially or secondarily, and they're just concerned. I understand. I'm all for Marion, for growth in downtown Marion. I was born here. I was raised here. I remember what downtown Marion used to be. I'm not working against that at all. Personally, I don't care about the DORA. I just care about the expansion that went kind of crazy wild. To the east is the only part that I've spoken of. From where it used to be, it expanded east, included a parking lot that nobody cared to bother to figure out who owned the parking lot. And then, residential properties around there. The expansion of it included properties of 5 different churches. I know church people drink. I don't have a problem with that. We don't drink at church though. So to me, it was the reckless way that it was all brought about. I am not trying to take business away from downtown, although I did do a little bit of research. And it turns out that a lot of the businesses downtown that someone would want to argue it's so that people can get a drink and then they can go over and they can shop at these stores. Most of those stores aren't open past 5 o'clock. The latest I could find on any of them was 7. So
30 seconds.
So I guess we're mostly catering to the day drinkers, if that's the notion. I appreciate what Mr. Kreider had said. And again, the idea that it was done in a very haphazard way, and all I'm asking is for some sense to be put into it, to reel it back in. I appreciate that now businesses are being visited and actually asked for the first time, do you want to be in the DORA? Because you are already. But I think there needs to be some care taken in how that's done, because a whole lot of the expansion of the DORA before happened because somebody said, one person said, oh yeah, they want to be in the DORA. That's not good enough for me. There needs to be a document. Somebody has to sign it. The owner of the business has to sign it and say, yes, we would like to be included in the DORA, not just somebody who has an interest in the DORA expanding. It needs to be, I'm glad that they're being visited, but I think there needs to be documentation of that. That's all I have to say.
Evelyn, is there a document that they sign
Well,
when they want to be or don't want to be?
That's what those surveys are, yes.
Okay.
We asked them for their address, their name, and to sign it.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of those. So yeah, there is a document that they sign. They have their name and everything.
And who, I'll just speak from my seat here.
I'm going up.
Who is making the visits of these businesses to ask?
Ellen, I did myself,
Okay.
his son, because right after that meeting, and then I was out of town for a few days, so I asked Alan Wilson from downtown Marion, and then he crafted the kind of a survey, and I can show it to you, but it basically, what's your business name, your address, business owner, authorized representative. I can see up here. So that in here. But, and this was, I will say, this was not done the first time, so maybe this is the protocol that it should be the next time, or, as we adjust. But actually, your name of the business, address, who is authorized to speak on behalf of either the business or the building, position on the current DORA boundaries, and it's indicate your position regarding the current DORA, Marion designated outdoor refreshment area. Yes, I support the current district, or no, we do not support maintaining it. Business statement, as a business owner operator located within the Marion downtown, I understand that the purpose of the downtown Marion designated outdoor refreshment area and acknowledge that it is intended to encourage visitors to explore multiple businesses, support local commerce, and enhance the overall downtown experience. The selection above represents my business's position regarding maintaining it. And then we ask them to sign, print their title, their phone or email, and the date. So, we try to make it, so that we're not just going and anecdotally say, well, I talked to so-and-so and they said, sure, fine, trying to get them to sign on the dotted line, so to speak. Since it affects.
That sounds a lot,
properties.
sounds a lot better than just word of mouth. Mr. Erickson, let me ask you, if I understand correctly, there were additional signs put up around your parking lot?
Yeah.
How has that worked out?
Well, I don't think it was, it satisfied my concern as a temporary measure. But again, the first time I spoke, the mayor correctly said, well, you can put up signs to say, not here. And my response to that was, we've been there for 150 years, and we never had to put up a sign until the city said, yeah, you can go over and drink over here. So the city put up the signs to say that, but it strikes me as odd that we have to say something that's never needed to be mentioned, suddenly has to be mentioned because somebody is allowing something. Nobody ever would have thought of drinking in the parking lot until the city said it was okay for them to, and now we have to go around and say they can't. And that's all I'm asking for, all I have ever asked for in all of this over the past 5 months now, is for what seems to be happening now to be happening that didn't happen. And I know it was your predecessors on city councils, and they can all be blamed. You can march them all downtown, put them in stocks, and throw tomatoes at them or whatever.
We want to take care of the problem now. And
and I'm not happy with the idea that, well, we have to renew it every 5 years, so let's just wait out the next year and a half. The problem has existed since the expansion occurred, and it needs to be dealt with because it wasn't done properly before.
All right, thank you.
It appears that some nod to doing it properly is happening now.
That's great.
Amy Craig, 365 Silver Street. I have a question about the Dora. If that is legally where we're allowed to drink, what good does a sign do in Mr. Erickson's church's parking lot saying that we're not allowed to drink there? Because I like Mr. Erickson, I think he's a good guy, but if I didn't, I might be inclined to go crack a beer or go have a Dora drink in his church's parking lot just to test the theory of what would happen. And what does happen when somebody doesn't see that Dora cup, or that Dora, no Dora drinks here, because the Dora is so weird, man. It ends like under overpasses and stuff like that. It's just really confusing to begin with. So what if someone's, let's say they parked in the church parking lot, even if they weren't supposed to, let's say that they did, and they go back with their Dora drink, and they discard their Dora cup. What good did that sign do? And I used to drop people off regularly to the rehab programs, or the AA meetings is what I did. AA and NA is what I would drop people off to. A Dora cup could be a trigger to someone who has been sober 6 days, 6 years, 6 months. They could be having a bad day. See that third of a beer, eighth of a beer, sip of a beer, empty beer glass? Might make them go drink. So I don't understand, if it's legal on paper, how a sign keeps us from doing it. Because if I wanted to argue it and make Mr. Russell earn his money, I would come right up here to municipal court and argue it. It's legal on paper, your sign says it's not, so which one is it? And I really do believe that the churches in Marion, they should have say over their own property as to what's going on, especially in the rehab type environment. But that Dora goes up, I don't even know what street it is beside Papa John's. That Dora goes halfway up that street, and it is nothing but a residential neighborhood. And it ends at an alley. So it's like people are walking around drinking beers up and down alleys downtown. It doesn't make sense. So I get that it's a process, but we need to think about our sign solution to Mr. Erickson's parking lot, because if somebody wanted to test the theory, I think we probably could.
Thank you. Any other comments on Dora?
Can I just ask you a question?
Yes, please come up. State your name, please.
Daniel Larson, 912 Cambridge Avenue. It was hard to hear when you were speaking, so I apologize. You may have answered this question. I was mostly focused on the eastern expansion. Are all of the areas in every other direction also being looked at?
Well, right now, just the
Okay.
eastern.
Because I
So
think
that's
if you're going to go through the bother of doing the paperwork and getting this whole thing, the worst thing that could happen would be the best thing from my perspective would be to fix what I'd asked for. But then to have somebody on the other end of town say, wait a minute, what about us? And I would say, I promised at the beginning that I wasn't gonna I wasn't gonna bother you with my concerns about to the north, to the west, to the south. To the south is ridiculous, the way it's this. If the east gets fixed, it solves most of that concern. But to the west, I get it. Attaboys, certainly they should be in the Dora. Why the Palace Theater needs to be, I don't know, but Bucci's, of course. But you can cross the street and just go up one side of it so that you can hit Bucci's, rather than the whole of West Center Street going up past a halfway house. It's just, it's just, nobody was using their head when they drew this, and it needs to happen now. So let's do the whole thing and see, and again, I would be interested in knowing, I'd like to see the form that people are being asked, and I'd like to know how people are being asked about it too, because I know that, and again, I just don't want people to feel pressured to say, sure, we want to be in the Dora, if in fact they don't want to be.
I believe Mr. Krieger has something he wants to say.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't know if you heard at the beginning, I had mentioned, look at the whole thing. And because again, just, if anything, efficiency of not having to go through it again after some change or something.
Right. And
Something oversight, yeah.
This is the first conversation that's happened about it.
Yeah.
In the last 6 months. It was years before that when anybody's mentioned it. Fix it all at once.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments on it? Committee?
Just keep it in committee while we get.
Yeah, I think we need to.
No, yeah,
To
definitely.
keep it here and find out how we can resolve it.
Yeah.
Okay. That concludes the new business. So now we're down to matters not on the agenda. Does anyone have anything that they would like to address that pertains to legislation, codes, and regulations? Yes, Ms. Mayor.
Kimberly Mayer, 890 Park Street. Earlier, you just said we can have open comments for legislation and codes. So, back to the flock cameras.
Sure.
We keep talking about how the controlling of the information on there, we need to remember that flock owns that information. The city of Marion and the sheriff doesn't get to decide what the information, it's not their information. They subscribe to that. So we keep talking about, we need to do this and control, what this person does. That's Flock's information. We can't tell Flock what they're doing with it when it comes to our ordinances. I mean, if we can, great. But I just want that noted, that remember that this is a subscription that they subscribe to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments on legislation codes? Hearing none, we're adjourned. 8:58 p.m. That usually happens to me, and I start coughing, actually, thank you. Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Matt said he'll be right back. Mr. Russell.
Yes, sir.
Usually, we're supposed to reorganize this committee, and we haven't done
It's probably the term, right? Have we done it during the term?
That's what I said.
If you want to do it tonight, just to check the box. Aren't you the chair now? Yeah. Okay, well. Okay. Sounds good. Let's do it.
Did you not do that?
Where's the same? Right here, so.
Okay, where are you putting me?
Where did I put yours? You guys don't even have name tags. I don't know where he did one. I know who you are, Rob. You can't hide. Did you see my email from the one customer? I'll text you. I know you all think. Yes. There's no sign. You guys don't have name tags. Somebody about much different.
Oh, yeah, I think I got back to you, I thought I passed on, like, trucks, yeah, I passed all that on. I don't know who they were. Said something like that.
Interesting results we got back from the study here.
Oh, I haven't even seen it.
Oh,
I never got one.
These are the results here that they snagged. I don't know why this one's sideways, but.
Yeah, I thought I responded, Sean, but I might have typed it up, so I was bad habit.
But we were primarily looking at Silver Street, and ironically, Silver Street was the absolute lowest out of all of the charts they gave us, and West Washington Street was the worst, but according to their metrics here, relatively not so bad.
Lost my chair. Yeah, sorry.
What did I steal? You got it? I don't know, this is awful comfy, it might be good.
BJ can suck it in these days. Very.
Welcome back.
That's okay. I got everybody else. Did you get that? We're good?
Yeah.
9:03, call to order the Traffic Commission. Clerk, will you take roll?
Mr. Barr.
Present.
Mr. Stevenson. Here. Ms. Larkin. Here. Director Powell.
Here.
Mr. Bishop. Here. Mr. Gerber. Here. And Mr. Russell. Here.
Okay, we have a summary of proceedings. The commission had an opportunity to review. And if so, do we have any wishes of the commission?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion?
Mr. Cowell.
Mr. Kyle?
Second.
Second from Mr. Russell. Clerk, if you'll take roll.
Mr. Barr.
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson.
Yes.
Ms. Larkin.
Yes.
Director Cowell.
Yes.
Mr. Bishop.
Yes.
Mr. Gerber.
Yes.
Mr. Russell.
Yes.
Okay. We got old business, but before we go there, I believe the rules for this committee or commission say we're supposed to reorganize annually, not by term, is that right, clerk?
It's biannually.
Biannually, but we can reorganize at any time.
Okay.
So there can be a motion at any time to reorganize.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm gonna make a motion to make Councilman Stevenson the chairman of this traffic commission.
Second.
Take roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Abstain.
Ms. Larkin?
Yes.
Director Cal?
Yes.
Mr. Bishop?
Yes.
Mr. Gruber?
Yes.
Mr. Russell?
Yes.
All right, congratulations, Mr. Stevenson. The rest of this is yours.
Oh, dear. All right, I believe that brings us to old business then.
Traffic studies.
That's Mr. Cal to present.
Mr. Cal, if you would present.
Actually, this data, Scott was able to, Mr. Bishop was able to compile this, and it's a lot more informative than the old information that we were gathering, and we finally feel like we got accurate information on Silver Street, and it's actually a lot better than what I thought, and anybody's welcome to view this. I will say that according to the data we now have, only 2.9% of the people traveling down Silver Street would be written a ticket, would be over the enforceable limit. Now, that being said, that's at 35, and I know there's been some discussion about reducing the speed limit to 25 miles an hour on Silver Street. So, we also feel like, after Scott and I reviewed this, that we feel like the information that we received from North State Street is also accurate. Doesn't seem to be any crazy anomalies there. And about a 5.3% enforceable limit. And again, speed limit's 35. West Washington, there seems to be some concern with the data that maybe we need to, because I think this was compiled before they replaced those internal batteries that we thought were causing the problem with our equipment. So West Washington is one that we feel like we may want to repost the equipment. And then South Main appears to be accurate as well, so.
The South Main and the West Washington were done together. It was,
Right.
It was one on South Main, and we moved it the next week to Washington. Now South Main seems to, that data looks to be relevant. I'm not sure what happened on West Washington, but yeah, I think that deserves a repost out there. And I can work with the street department to get that done.
Just for example, it shows 354 vehicles just in lane one that were between 61 and 65 miles an hour. I have a hard time believing that there was more people at 61 to 65 than there was 36 to 40. But again, everything, nothing.
On Washington?
100%. So.
It's just West Washington too, from Delaware to Prospect. And there's already a stop sign on that. Yeah, that's it.
So that being said, if anybody wants to review this before we make a motion, I would say that we would meet again in 2 weeks.
Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
Just for clarification, this isn't the digital radar system that's out there. This is the one that's up on the pole.
It's not the
that's
speed
not
trailers
seen.
that-
Yeah.
It's not the.
So it says
don't
that the
actually
teacher's sitting
record-
out on recess. This
Those
is,
don't
this is
record
up top.
data.
Okay. Okay.
Any other comments from council? Okay, hearing none. All right. There's no new business, so matters not on the agenda.
I do have some new business.
Okay.
Well, it's not on the agenda, but it just came. We put in a new stop sign on London as you enter onto Oak Street. There was some question as to maybe there may have been a sign there in the past. Scott couldn't find it anywhere, but the resident said that there was a sign there.
So this is actually heading eastbound from Mary Street over to Oak Street. If you look at the mapping, I believe that actually London Street turns into an alley. But on the Mary Street side, there is a stop sign coming out of that alley, so it kind of made sense to add one coming out onto Oak.
So that was installed recently. And just last week, and this is just for council or for this committee to maybe consider at the next meeting, but it is under new business. I was approached about putting in a pedestrian crossing from the rec center across West Church Street to would be basically the Nazarene Church, since they use the city parking lot on Sundays for overflow parking, so there is a lot of pedestrian traffic across West Church Street. And there is a set of stairs that go down, but then no crosswalk. So that's for the committee to, I guess, debate next time we convene.
So the placement of the stop sign at London and Oak Street, I believe that falls under your purview as safety director. As a temporary basis, does that need to come before council?
So, not in this case, because looking into it when the information was first shared, this had to do with the Department of Transportation's Uniform Traffic Control Device Manual. And there's confusion that is created by the fact that London Street is ending on one side of Marion, and then there's an alley coming off the west side. And so because of the confusion, it made sense to eliminate that confusion with the posting of a stop sign. Because it's eliminating confusion associated with a street on one side, an alley on the other, it does not need to go to council.
Okay, that was my question. I'm not saying I disagree with the placement or anything, I just want to make sure we're doing things properly, and that if this is a temporary measure till council has to approve. So you're saying council doesn't have to approve this?
No, not this one.
Okay.
Any other items? Got a comment?
Tammy Craig, 365 Silver Street. We've been waiting on this Silver Street stuff for what, like 6 or 7 months? And I know you said that it was, and I'm pretty surprised at that number too, but I want to point out that that area that you surveilled, 0.2 of a mile. So they're going from stop sign to stop sign and they're hitting 35 miles an hour in 0.2 of a mile. So, you know, I guess I wanted to point out Madison Avenue is 25 miles an hour, and that takes us from 309 to Fairground. And if that's not a through street, then I don't know what is. So I don't understand why we can't consider getting Silver Street down to 25 miles an hour. We have railroad tracks, we have a school, we have bus stops, we have multiple intersections, multiple stop signs. It's a completely residential area until you get to the end where there is a school. So I don't understand why I feel like we're passing the buck on this one.
Chairman, may I address?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't disagree with you, but I just wanted to present this and give the committee a chance to digest this, and then maybe.
But, so, while you're digesting, please realize that's 0.2 of a mile from stop sign, well, less than a stop sign because it didn't even make it down to the other stop sign. They're going from stop sign to your little radar thing and getting to 35 miles an hour in less than 0.2 of a mile.
Ms. Craig,
Yes.
just so you know, just going over this tonight, I had every intention of talking to council members, talking to the law director to help draft something to
Thank you. All the
look
side
into
streets.
doing that. Well, I know we've been going through this for a while and had problems with our radar, so we had to redo it again. But I think everybody up here is aware. We think that's an issue in that short of a distance. You know, we're not trying to go through town.
Well, and all the parked cars, because I mean, we've seen, and I have the ring videos of people slamming into parked cars in front of me going, you know, too fast.
On e-bikes.
Yeah, and I've got people slamming on e-bikes in front of my house too, so if you need the footage, I've got it. But, so please, just realize that is 0.2 of a mile, that they're hitting 35 miles an hour. And it is bus stops and schools and everything else on Silver Street.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question for Ms. Craig.
Yes.
Is there an area on the street that would be better served with the placement of this device? Or is this as good as any area on the street?
Obviously, I'm more familiar with my own area of the street. As you get Leader Street, then you got the railroad tracks, that automatically slows them down. especially if there's a train sitting there.
And there's a school at the other.
Yeah, and then there's a
and
school
there's
at the other end, so there are a lot of like stop signs that kind of break up the school area down around Martin Luther King, I'm gonna call it Cass. Down around Martin Luther King and Avondale, they kind of have stop signs that break things up down around in there, but my strip, there's nothing.
So your strip is the longest?
I believe it is.
That's where we put it, that's where we
Yes.
put it.
Yes.
I kind of
I think the whole strip.
Well, it just.
The tracks break it up, they really do.
Yeah.
Some.
So turning to the discussion of, it's 35 miles an hour because in 1960 it qualified as a through street. And I heard you and was thinking the same thing. We should look at, meaning the safety director, myself, and the engineering department, that the changes that have taken place in regards to the definition of through streets under the Uniform Manual, and see if it's changed, and do that while we're also restudying Silver Street.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
Scott Kreider, City Council at Large, to continue. Again, I had owned property years ago, back on that first block from Prospect to Oak Street, and the changes on that, you had a light, I believe it was before the Oak Street school closed. There's a light there, it's on a stop sign. Back in 2014, 2015, because of a $100,000 light replacement, that ended up reducing, or we ended up changing that to a four-way stop. And there's a lot of care that went into that and so forth. But yeah, it seems like that's really the stretch from Oak to Leader Street. That was, and because that street is visually, and I'm not sure if it's measure-wise, but wider. And when you have something that's wider, people tend to go faster. But I'm glad this is being looked at. I'm completely in support of changing that. I don't know why it's considered as a through street anymore, just because we have Superior Street, for example, it's between two state routes, and that's at 25 mile an hour. I think we have very minimal commercial use on Silver.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, so the definition of the through street in the 1960s under the manual was it was a street that was at least a mile long. So that's why you're seeing the difference on like Superior or what's next to the KSC street?
Madison.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
Okay. One more comment?
Oh, yeah. Is Park Street next?
Landon Thacker Wood, 259 Park Boulevard. I was just wondering if the traffic study done on Park Boulevard is still under review.
I don't think that was a traffic study per se yet. I think that was the digital,
Okay.
radar, and that's not what actually does, am I right in saying this? Correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
the speed trailer doesn't record data.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something you don't see,
Okay.
that they put up on a
But
pole that gathers
if you're
this information.
requesting that, we can put that on the list to move a camera over there once we get West Washington redone, it sounds
I
like.
should call it advice.
We only have one, so.
Okay. All right.
So that's a yes, you would like that to be put on the
Yes.
list, right?
We can do that.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, adjourned.
Well done, Chairman.
Thank you.
You knew it was coming.
He was on
Getting ready for court?
Getting ready to go home.
We might be sleeping here tonight, I don't know.
Aaron gets through these pretty quick.
It is 9:19. I'm going to call Finance Committee to order. Clerk, could you please take the roll? Mr. Rollins? Present. Mr. R. Smith? Here. Mr. Clark?
Here.
All right, first order of business, we do have minutes from the 6th of July, I do believe.
Yes.
Hopefully, committee has had an opportunity to review those. I will entertain motions at this time.
I have looked, I didn't see anything, so I will make a motion that we accept these minutes.
And I will second.
Clerk, I got a first and a second to accept the minutes as presented. Could you please take the roll? Mr. Rollins? Yes. Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
All right, that will become record. With regard to old business, in the interest of everyone's time, Mayor, the last time this was incredibly efficient.
Have another incredibly efficient one.
So, with regard to reconciliations, my understanding 2022 is complete.
I am a little close. Reconciliations for 2022 are complete. They are in the hands of Clerk Schaefer Hackett. We've had correspondence several times back and forth with Clerk Schaefer Hackett and providing some additional clarification and things that they need. We still are on track to hopefully finish by the end of July.
Excellent.
2023, the reconciliations for that are complete, have been sent to us. We're in the process of reviewing those, those completed records to make sure there's everything that we need prior to us sending that to Clerk Schaefer and Hackett. As far as 24, 25, obviously those will occur shortly after we move forward with 23. Let me go on to item 2.
Just a real quick question, 23, do we still believe potentially end of August?
23, we hope still they are saying by the end of August that they should be done. It should take them about a month once they get the information from us.
Questions from committee on reconciliations, current audit?
None for me, it's looking good.
All right. Yeah, let's move on to item number 2, Mayor. Penalties and appeals.
As far as I am aware, we have had no other correspondence from the IRS as far as penalties. We have had a few questions asked by Clerk Schaefer Hackett as far as, what do you call it? The transcripts, yeah. And they are being provided to them for the purpose of the audit. So that's the only update really for that.
Okay. Questions from committee?
None.
None.
I will take questions from the public on either item 1 or 2 at this time. Seeing none, we are going to move on to new business, of which I do have 3 pieces of new business. Item number 1, Finance 53, Ohio Department of Rehab and Corrections appropriation, July of 26. Clerk, could you please read?
Ordinance requesting appropriations from the Ohio Department of Rehabilitations and Corrections to the Community Corrections Fund in the below listed line item for the year ending December 31st, 26.
All right, this comes to us from the probation office. Mr. Stocks, I believe you are here. Apologize that you had to sit through 3 hours of meetings, but
Good evening. Yeah, so this is grant money from the ODRC. It's going to replace 2 kiosks, a check-in kiosk and a drug testing kiosk. And you're like, what is a kiosk? Similar to the you see out in the lobby for the court. So they're coming up on 10 years old, and the grant's going to pay for it.
all right. Questions from committee?
None for me.
None.
I make a motion, we move this on to full council with a recommendation to approve.
I'll second.
All right, I have a first and a second to pass this on to council with a recommendation to approve. Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. R. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
All right, item number 4, Finance 54, Attorney General appropriation. Clerk, please read.
Ordinance requesting appropriations from the Ohio Attorney General's office to the Probation Services Fund in the below listed line item for the year ending December 31st, 2026.
All right, this also comes to us from the probation department. Mr. Stotts, any additional commentary on this one?
This is a collaboration grant between multi-county, common police court, and municipal court. So multi-county jail lost their case management system. They upgraded it because the old one was no longer being supported. So when they got a new case management system, their case management system no longer talks to the courts. So the Attorney General is going to pay to interface so that way their system communicates with the court system.
Very good. Questions from committee?
None for me.
Any questions from the public? Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to send this on to council with a recommendation to approve.
And I'll second.
Clerk, I have a first and a second to send this on to council with a recommendation to approve. Could you please take the roll?
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
All right. Item number 5, we are almost there, ladies and gentlemen. Finance 55, SCMR Fund Appropriation. Clerk, could you please read?
Ordinance requesting additional appropriations to the SCMR fund and the below listed line item for the year ending December 31st, 2026.
All right, this comes to us from the Office of Management and Budget. This is the standard item we see on a regular basis here for bond payments for work done within the city of Marion. Again, if there's no questions from committee, I'm going to make a motion to send this on to council with a recommendation to approve.
Second.
All right, I've got a first and a second. Clerk, could you please take the roll?
Mr. Rollins?
Yes.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
All right, that will bring us to matters not on the agenda. I only have one item not on the agenda, and I'm sure most of you are already aware with the announcement this morning that we are entering into fiscal emergency officially as of tomorrow. Did release a statement this morning. I'll just take a few minutes to read that briefly, and then I'll open it up to the mayor for any additional comments that he may have. So to the residents of Marion, Ohio, as you may recall, as far back as 6 years ago, some on city council began talking of accountability issues with city finances. Beginning in 2019-2020, the city auditor's office and city treasurer's office failed to reconcile our financial records appropriately. Unfortunately, that failure to reconcile continued all the way through to present day. Even with city council and Mayor Collins demanding accountability, demanding policies and procedures for monthly reconciliation processes, the office holders in those positions failed to comply, leading to several years of unreconciled books and ledgers with negative balances. The Collins administration, seemingly with no other options, with books now 5 to 6 years behind, 5 years of audits behind, and a loss of credit rating, submitted a request to the Auditor of State's office to analyze and project Marion's finances with regard to fiscal caution. With that request, the administration was to submit plans to get the city out of caution. This plan was rejected as it was not aggressive enough in returning the specific ledger accounts to a positive balance. The administration submitted a second revised plan, and after waiting several weeks, we now know the results of that plan. This past week, I represented City Council, the Finance Committee, and the residents of Marion in a meeting with the Ohio Auditor of State's office. During the process of reviewing our plan for recovery from fiscal caution, the state conducted a fiscal emergency review, and of the 6 qualifying conditions for fiscal emergency, Marion meets one of those conditions. Therefore, the plan has been rejected, and on Tuesday, July 21st, 2026, the Auditor of State's office will place the city of Marion, Ohio, under fiscal emergency. While some of you may find this news not surprising if you followed the financial challenges in the Auditor's and Treasurer's office for the past 5 years, some other residents may find this news shocking or the news of fiscal emergency to be scary. I can assure the residents of Marion this is an absolute best case scenario for us given our challenges, given the challenges we've faced by past failures to follow procedures and reconcile our city finances. As part of this process, the State Auditor's Office will work daily and directly with the City Auditor, City Treasurer, and administration at no cost to the city for 2 years to ensure that we have proper procedures, proper training, proper software, and the foundation to maintain accountability in our city's finances for years to come. I'm confident with the continued leadership and assistance of this City Council, along with the Collins administration and with the help of the State Auditor's Office, We will get our books reconciled, complete our audit process, and restore our bond rating. It will require us all working together to achieve this, but I know together we will do just that. In Liberty, Aaron Rollins, Marion City Council at Large, Finance Committee Chair. So with that, I will turn it over to the mayor for any additional comments that he may have.
Thank you very much. Just to add to a lot of what he has already said, good evening, council, good evening, residents. I want to address the recent decision by the Ohio Auditor of State's office to place our city into fiscal emergency. This action was taken because financial audits and reconciliation from prior years remain incomplete. While hearing the words fiscal emergency can understandably raise concerns, I want to reassure our residents that this designation also provides us with valuable resources. Over the next 2 years, we will receive no-cost assistance from the Auditor of State's office to complete outstanding financial work, strengthen our policies and procedures, and implement sound, generally accepted accounting practices. Our daily operations will continue as normal, and our commitment to providing quality services to our residents remains unchanged. We will continue working every day to keep our community safe, maintain essential services, and support the needs of our citizens. The financial challenges we face today did not develop overnight, and they will not be solved overnight. However, we now have the opportunity, the resources, and the leadership to move our city in the right direction. Our newly appointed auditor and staff are dedicated to improving efficiency, increasing accountability, and building a fiscally responsible foundation that will serve our community well into the future. We appreciate the patience, understanding, and support of our residents as we work through this process together. We are committed to transparency and will continue to provide updates as we make progress. I would like to end with the fact that, as was mentioned earlier, we had a meeting last Thursday, and we're assured that the placing of us in a fiscal emergency would not happen until tomorrow morning. Working on that assumption, I made plans for this week to meet with our staff tomorrow afternoon after this was announced, and meet with our staff, our employees, and leadership from each department, as well as people from the bargaining units. So being that did come out today, we will have our meeting at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, where I will have a meeting with all of our leadership, our staff, and the people in our bargaining units. And at that meeting, we will talk about pressing forward and what this declaration means for us today, what it will mean tomorrow, and what it might mean 6 months from now. Certainly it may be different tomorrow than what it is 6 months from now. So, but what I wanted to assure those people is just because this declaration came about today or tomorrow, we're not laying off 20 or 30 people. We're not laying off anybody. Because we were aware that this could be a possibility at some point, we took the steps necessary over the last 2 years to hold our expenses down and try to raise our revenue. So when you hear about policemen leaving or firemen leaving and us not replacing them over the last year or so, that wasn't by accident. We did that to try to lessen the impact of what might happen, which is going to take effect tomorrow. So we want people to deal in facts. We don't want people to get their information off of Facebook. We want them to know what the facts are, and that's what we will deliver to our people tomorrow, so they'll know the facts firsthand and they'll be able to make decisions that they need to make for themselves. And I'll be glad to answer any questions if I can about something I didn't cover, but if it deals with what I might talk to them about tomorrow, I'd rather talk to them first.
Absolutely. Any questions from committee?
No, I have none. I think you covered it very well.
Questions from the public? Comments? Yes, please come forward. State your name and address.
Kimberly Marion, 90 Gephardt Street. Thanks, Mayor, for your comments. I wouldn't want to be in your position, you know, running the city. But I heard your comment about, you know, you're going to talk to the people tomorrow. Well, I have just one little comment. There's certain people that maybe are here now or was here in the last 5 years. Is there going to be some accountability? Is there going to be some accountability to where the city of Marion, the residents of Marion, see actual results of somebody being punished for the stealing or the misplacement of our money?
I think.
So I can answer that.
Sure.
So we talked about that last Thursday, actually, in our meeting. And after our 2021 audit was complete, they held off making any findings for recovery until 2022 was complete. So once 2022 is complete and they see what kind of dollar amounts there are, I would anticipate there absolutely will be some findings of recovery.
Findings of recovery meaning, what are you meaning by that?
Holding the people that were in charge at the time responsible for those dollar amounts.
Okay, because that's what mainly I'm concerned about, because I understand that us as residents that already pay are most likely going to be paying it back through hikes of different routes throughout things, but I think there really needs to be a stance put on accountability. That way it looks good for you. That way you are doing what you're supposed to do for the city and not just allowing not pushing the issue and holding these people accountable, because we're bearing the brunt of it now. Lost police officers, lost firefighters, we're bearing the brunt of it. So Marion's bearing the brunt of it. We deserve answers and to see heads roll if that needs to be done. Please and thank you.
Thank you. Couldn't agree more. Thank you, Kim. Any other comments? Please come forward.
Are we doing open?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. Amy Craig, 365 Silver Street. This has just been a strange issue, sewer bills. Last month I had 4 sewer bills that were exactly the same, $65.91. And this month I have 5 sewer bills that are exactly the same, $65.91. These houses are all comprised of different people, 3-person household, 5-person household, 2 one-bedroom apartments that only had 2 people in them, or 2 humans, not like 4 people. I pay 3 of the water bills. They're all different. So I don't know how we're pulling in the same sewer bills. But when I went to pay my sewer bills last month, I just went in to pay them because some of them are a few dollars cheaper than what they had been in the past. So I'm there with my fistful of money and my handful of bills, and Andrea, the supervisor, says, "I'm not going to even start with you on your bills." I was like, "Excuse me, I'm just here to pay my bills." She's like, "You need to call Aqua." I'm like, "Are you talking about the $65.91 you apparently saw on my Facebook page?" And she said, "Yeah, you need to get a hold of Aqua." So I would like for someone to explain to me, if I didn't pay all of these water bills, how am I supposed to call Aqua and talk to them about all the sewer bills that are the same? Because I can only talk to them about 3 water bills. I can't call them up and say, "Hey, this address that I pay a sewer bill for, can you tell me about their water bill?" I'm not the account holder. And I don't know how, okay, let's say I just had one account and noticed that my bill was the same month after month after month. What am I supposed to call Aqua and say? My city utility bill is the same every month? Can you please explain that to me? And I have people all over my comment section saying their bills are $65.91. We're comparing how much our water bills are. They're not the same. So I don't know what's going on. And if you're overbilling or underbilling or rounding, or if we have new software or what's going on, but something's going on, and we shouldn't be talked to like crap when we don't even say anything. I've got $500 in my hand and I'm getting crap talked to me because I made a Facebook post. So, like, something's going on. If a dozen people are telling me they've got the same amount and I've got 5 bills, that's 17 bills that are the exact same dollar amount, we all have different water bills. Something's going on. And then, finally, my phone has been blowing up the whole time we've been sitting here, and I don't know if this is the appropriate place to ask or not, but I guess it would be finance related. Has the fire chief resigned? I've been told by multiple people that the fire chief cleared out his desk today and resigned. Chief Dean.
I can address that if you'd like.
Yes, please.
He's indicated to me that he has intentions to retire. I've not received an official letter to that effect or a date.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just real quick, anybody from administration have anything to add with regard to the sewer bills? Do we know?
Provides our meter readings.
Yeah, it's done off the meter.
So at the end of the day, we need to get a hold of Aqua?
I think that's where she was going with that. They give us a listing of the meter readings, and I believe it gets uploaded to our system.
Okay.
And then that's how they produce the bills from that. So I think that's where she was going when she was telling you to contact Aqua, but I can't say for sure.
What can Aqua tell me other than what my bill is?
If they did your meter reading, I would assume they could provide you.
They do, on your bill, it tells you how many cubic feet of water that you use.
Yeah.
But when I have.
Were the cubic feet of water the same for all 5 properties?
No.
So how?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I have 2 people living in 2 one-bedroom apartments that don't have washers or dryers, and I have 5 people living in a 3-bedroom house that have washers and dryers, and then I have my own home where we live, and we have washers and dryers and water gardens and everything else, and then I have 2 people living in a 3-bedroom house, and I pay their sewer bill, and they're all different. So.
Ms. Craig, I have some
Yes.
contacts at Aqua. I can't
Thank you.
make any promises, but
I
I will
get
make a phone call and try to get some answers.
I mean, if there's a translate, like, what they're sending to us isn't converting, like they're not talking, I get it, but something's definitely going on. Definitely.
Okay.
Either some of your sewer bills are too high, or some of them aren't high enough.
Can you
Because they
specifically,
can't be the same.
just real quick, I'm sorry,
No,
for
it's
clarification, what was that specific sewer amount?
$65.91, and I've seen it. It was 5 bills this month, and it was 4 bills last month.
Thank you.
All 9 of those were the same.
All 9 of them are exactly the same. I pay 10 bills a month, so you can imagine when I open it up, and I'm like, okay, every now and then they'll be the same or close. But when I open it up, 4 are the same one month, and 5 are the same the next month. So it's never happened.
I will try to get you an answer.
Thank you.
Yep. Yes, you.
Susan Kelly, 365 Farm. Backing that up, noticed in some of my rentals that sometimes there's the same amount. I was talking up to a weird coincidence, but there is something going on.
Yeah, I don't believe the coincidences. All right, anything further? Seeing none, we are adjourned!
I'll see you.
You shut the audio off.